Hello and welcome to the championship finale for the Hi-Tec Drift Australia Series. My name is Jared McLean and we're coming to you from Sydney Motorsport Park's South Circuit. That's right, we are back. It has been a massive build-up to an incredible event which is about to go down. Sydney Motorsport Park, famed for its steep uphill, a great spectator viewing area and a dynamic layout on track. Big news for the weekend. The Irish invasion has commenced with multi-Irish drifting champion Dwayne McKeever coming here to go toe-to-toe with the very best that Australian drifting has to offer. Also, championship leader in the Pro Division, Bo Yates, has put the keys to his Toyota 86 across to Matt Van Kirk, looking to defend a second place in the championship. We're going to have a chat with James Abbott, top qualifier from last night. James, come on in, mate. It's been an incredible build-up and top qualifying is no mean feat. A fantastic effort. How are you feeling coming into competition?
Yeah, a lot of confidence after last night. We've been given an awesome opportunity this year to drive the Hi-Tec oils car, and we've spent most of the year just chasing issues in it, but it's starting to feel really good. It felt good at Calder. We are unlucky to have some mechanical failures there, but I just brought that confidence in with me last night and laid down 2 good laps and walked away with first place, and that's got me feeling pretty good about going into battles now.
Big names, Dwayne McKeever, Bo Yates, Matt Van Kirk, all beneath you in the tree, and we're looking forward to seeing how you go. But in the meantime, let's introduce our commentators, Dave Carter and Jake Kennedy.
Thanks for the welcome, J-Mac. It's great to be back here at Sydney Motorsport Park. The sun is shining, unlike the wet weather we had last time round. Jake, I am keen to see these guys throwing down on the South Circuit here, that great uphill run. And we've seen already in qualifying a lot of drivers comfortable, really getting that line down, and quite a lot of speed here.
Yeah, it's been an interesting morning as well. The boys back into practice after practicing in the night and back into day practice, which has been good, and the weather's really turned up for us, which is great. So we'll just have a quick look here at the pro qualifying results. Your number one qualifier here, James Abbott, no surprise here. We seen him in practice last night. He was on fire all night and he was confident in his car. Josh Botcher coming up in second with a 92.7, not even in his car. That's a big effort, especially for him coming off the back of practice and everything like that. Third place, Michael Bonney, all the way from Victoria.
And then big result here, Matt Van Kirk borrowing Bo Yates' car and qualifying above him in 4th place here. Bo, unfortunately, not getting his way into the top 8, so I'm sure he'll be hungry through the battles. Aaron Dewar in 5th position, Scott Shembry getting 6th. John Overdura is doing a valiant effort into 7th. And then Mitch Doyle getting the top 8. He was stoked about that in the pits. We're going to head down to J-Mac, who's catching up with another strong competitor, this time an international, Dwayne McKeever.
McKeever, welcome to Australia, competing in round 5 of the Hi-Tec Drift Australia Series. How does it feel to come out and go toe-to-toe with some of Australia's best talent?
Oh, it's just completely awesome to be here. All the guys here they're incredible. They're so friendly, nice. Like from every driver here, like I'm not sure, I've never spoken to them before, but everyone has come over and they greeted me and they said, "Hi, how you doing?" Shook my hand. So it's just such a lovely crowd here and just nice guys all around.
3 Irish drifting crowns to your name, 1 British drifting championship as well. You're doing a fantastic job over in Europe and you've qualified in the top 10 here. Tell me, what are you planning to take home this weekend?
Oh, like anywhere I go, like I have a competitive head. I'm here to one thing only, win. But yeah, like this is a completely different car to what I'm used to back at home. But was getting confident in the car yesterday and come out here this morning and the track's just completely different. But I'm really I was able to throw a couple of backies in practice there this morning stuff. So really I'm starting to get the hang of it. Really love the car. So yeah, hopefully expect maybe a couple of good things from me soon to come.
We're looking forward to what you can produce, mate.
Thank you.
What an attitude coming down under and battling it out with some of Australia's best names to represent Ireland in that big power JZ E46 BMW. Beautiful looking car. We're sure to see some points on the board for Dwayne, but probably not in the running for the championship, where we see Bo Yates well out in front, has pretty much secured himself first place in the championship. We know he'll be battling hard alongside Matt Van Kirk, who is defending second in the same car. So that's going to be interesting to see how that goes as we get to the pointy end of the battles. Scott Shembry up there, but Aaron Dewar only 8 points behind him, with Mo El Houli, another another 6 points behind Aaron. So our top 5 there with James Abbott just above 200 as well in the top 6. We can see some different orders going on here, so it's really going to be down to the battles. But at the top of that championship points is Bo Yates and Matt Van Kirk, who are going to catch up with in the pits now.
Yates, having qualified here at round 5 for Hi-Tec Drift Australia, you have effectively sealed the championship. First of all, congratulations, but the day is not done. You're looking to take home a great result, aren't you?
Yeah, obviously no pressure this weekend. We wrapped up the championship last weekend or 2 weekends ago in Calder Park, so pressure's off, but I've handed the keys to Matt this weekend, so hopefully he can finish off his year campaign and get second in the championship.
Matt, talking about defending that second place in this championship, how does it feel to be given the keys to such a tour de force when it comes to drifting technology?
Oh, technology is an understatement. This car is unbelievable. By far the best drift car I've ever driven. I'm pretty much speechless. It's a huge thanks to Bo for letting me drive it. He worked really hard this week. He had an engine failure, and he swapped a new block in from Toyota, and it's been purring all weekend. And luckily, you know, I came into the round. I didn't have a car because unfortunately Paul Alexander's car it also had an engine failure. So Bo was kind enough and nice enough to loan me his car for the weekend. And like you said, we're coming in second championship right now, and we're hoping to keep going and put on a great show for everybody.
Let's talk a little bit about the workload that this Toyota Genuine Parts 86 is about to undertake. Of course, both of you running in Pro this weekend. What's the game plan in terms of looking after the machine?
Well, I think the machine looks after itself. I mean, it's been built so well. All the components in the car are top notch. So, look, I'm definitely not worried about that. And I know this guy's got the skill behind the wheel. So, luckily enough, we're on opposite sides of the trees. So we actually won't meet until maybe the finals, and then we'll just have to scissor, paper, rock or something. Yeah. So, but look, no, the car's definitely up to the challenge. I guess the biggest thing is just keeping tyres up to the back of it.
And Matt, your goal is obviously to hold on to that second place championship, but is there anyone that you'd really love to come up against now that you know you've got yourself a true workhorse under you?
Well, it'd been nice to go against Scott because he's right there, right behind me. I think is probably 10-point gap right now, so he's right there. But Bo here got him first round, so hopefully, fingers crossed, Bo could pretty much seal the deal on that one. But honestly, Bonnie would be nice to go against because he took me out of World Time Attack. He's got one heck of a machine as well. 2JZ, Toyota engine's going strong in that, and so it'd be nice to hopefully see him maybe down in the bracket.
Well, best of luck for both of you in the Toyota Genuine Parts 86.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you.
Who could have guessed at the beginning of the season that Matt Van Kirk, after a strong result, would have come down here to try and get a championship podium? But that's exactly what he's going to do. Before we get into our pro battles, we will be seeing the Famous Insurance Pro-Am straight into the top 8. So it's going to be an action-packed stream. Make sure to share it around there if you're watching at home. We have Adam Burgess facing off against Matt Walters. Brendan O'Grady against Ben Odgers. It's got to be one of the most stylish cars in the field all the way down from Queensland. Great looking S15.
Exactly, and then we've got John Overduris and Thomas McManaway battling out for another top 8 battle. Then coming up after that, we'll have Jason Hayden as well.
Sorry about that, guys. We did just lose the ladder here, but we'll anyway get into the top 8 action of our Pro-Am series. We have Adam Burgess on the line there.
Adam Burgess being our #1 qualifier as well. He's put in the pace today, and they said that he's looked absolutely amazing. So we'll have,
with Matt Walters chasing in that Drift Angry Hulk R33. Nice and tight there on the entry. Both drivers coming through there, and Matt Walters diving in as they both go nicely into the outside zone there. Matt Walters just a little bit shallow, but emulating beautifully as they come up over the hill in front of us now. Quite a nice chase there from Matt Walters, excusing the middle section that we called earlier.
Exactly. So we'll just have going through the replay here. Nice initiation there from Adam Burgess right out to the outer clipping zone, pushing his front up there into the second clipping zone, making sure that he's all the way through there, carrying a nice line right to the outside again. Matt Walters there pushing himself way too far on the inside there, which causing himself to balk. Just giving a few extra points there to Adam Burgess. We can hear that Barra singing right up the hill, straight up front nose over the top clipping point. This is the track. This is South Circuit. The speed is there. The smoke is there. We've got all the fans up on the hill. We want to see, we want to hear is get that live stream sharing and make sure that we can see his hashtag Hi-Tec Drift AU on all of the social medias, which is good to see, and we'll be able to chat back to you as well from the live stream, which you can see on Motorsports TV and as well as on the Hi-Tec Drift AU.
Yeah, so we do have the live stream in front of us, and Jake and I will be trying to answer any questions you may have that you post in there as a comment. So even if you're here in the pits and just want to get involved, hear a shout out, who knows what you're up to on the hill, feel free to jump on the live stream, give us any questions you might have as a comment, and we'll do our best to get back to you. Even if you have questions of the judges, you know, we like picking their brains, finding out what's behind the battles here. So yeah, here to help. We are at your service. Jump on that live stream on Motorsports TV Facebook page, or of course Hi-Tec Drifting Australia.
And as we can see, you got Scott Sembry there on the live stream. So you guys, you can ask them a question. I'm sure that they'll type back and answer a few questions, you know, which is great to see.
He's with Trevs, who's built a lot of motors for this community, Engines by Trevs, and also Rob Arbolino, you know, has got a few trophies behind him. So he's up on the live stream. Give us a wave, boys.
The old pilot of the 350 there, which is great to see. You know, everyone's still in the sport. Even though he's taken a step back from the driver's seat, he's still here supporting one of his boys, Scott Sembry. So coming up to the second battle here between Adam Burgess and Matt Walters. We'll have Matt Walters in his Drift Angry R33. LS powered with ITBs. Beautiful entry there. A little bit room given there. He's starting to get a little bit of a pull away. Adam Burgess diving up there with a little bit of a shallower line. Matt Walters is setting up a good lead run here, which is giving him plenty of chase there. Burgess coming up on the inside. A little bit more angle from the chase would have been nice to see, but a beautiful lead run there by Matt Walters. Just heading through the replay there, we can see Matt holding that middle line all the way through to the outer line there of the second clipping point. Coming through the switch there, right up front. Given the judges have said they want him through the middle of the track there, getting him nice transition to the top of the hill right in front of the judges.
A lot of speed from these two. And we'll watch a replay again, as it is quite a nice battle to watch, where Matt Walters had a lot of speed from that Drift Angry R33. It's an individual throttle body, naturally aspirated LS, and man, that thing sings. But the mighty Barra, catch yourself a 3-metre Barra out there on the track.
3-metre Barras.
It's out here, a wild-sounding machine, and it's great to see some Australian chassis getting represented in drifting, because, you know, with a bit of talent and a few mods, you really can throw them around. On the live stream, we've got our top qualifier lounging in the star zone. Spirit Fingers here, ready to party. I can't wait to see him drive. Oh,
I was having a chat to him just before today, and he's in his head, he's in his element, he's feeling confident about himself, and that's what we like to see, you know, him powering Nigella all the way through this track. He's feeling confident. It's one of his favourite tracks.
I've got a feeling on South Circuit that the Blaze unit are going to be living up to their name today. You can make plenty of smoke out here.
100%, so...
And there we have the result. Adam Burgess is through there, getting his way into that top 4. That's huge for him after having some wheel stud issues down at Calder. So he's going to be so happy to get himself a result here up at Sydney Motorsport Park, cheering. And unfortunately, Matt Walters going home. Now, next battle on the line. We have Brendan O'Grady up against Ben Odgers. Again, I'm in love with this S15. I mean, it used to be camo moats, but he's totally made it his own. I love that white and blue colour scheme. Work XT7, actually T7Rs. They got the machined edge on the spoke.
Exactly.
Very nice looking wheel. So we've got Ben Odgers in the chase with Brendan O'Grady in a JZX100 Mark II. I can't decide which car I like more, Jay.
These two are the most vibrant cars in the field, and look at them go. We've got Brendan Bogger. He's absolutely up the power in that JZ, right out to that outer clipping zone. A little bit shallow there by Odgers, but he's seemed to have found his form and getting right back up onto the door there. Let's hope that he can steady it up there for his lead run. He's a little bit untidy there on the chase.
So the judges have said there that they're not focusing too much on the entry here, because they do want the drivers to get settled where they need to through the course. Looks like Brendan O'Grady following the judge line to the outside there, while Ben Odgers just a little bit shallow, found himself then having to switch back on the handbrake, not quite on the power early enough. So that straightens going to be a serious mistake in the chase for Ben Odgers. But, you know, this is drifting, and as we switch him around, that could change very quickly.
And it's big hats off to him. He's never driven this track before, coming in with very minimal practice. The boy's been crunched for time, and I know that he struggled a little bit yesterday just trying to set up grip and really find the form for that car, especially that car's been built to run the big semi-slicks, and he's back down here on the 235 radial. So he's been doing well, and, you know, a lot of his form has been put into that car. So, so...
As we wait for these to come back around, joining us on the cam here, we have your talented judging panel. We've got Dan Mackey close to you there with Dan Keneally, and then James Dean Martle of JDMX Park. I'm also here. G'day, guys, and Jake Kennedy down the end of the panel. So we'll be up here screaming away, enjoying ourselves under the Hi-Tec Drift Australia marquee on the hill at Sydney Motorsport Park. The sun is shining, but we do have a bit of a breeze, which is going to be good for the turbo cars, keeping the temperatures down, but also good to get the smoke away from what is you know, it can be viewed as a bit of a power skid hill. You know, when the cars get on that power and start reaming smoke off the back of them, if you're the chase car, you can very easily get lost in that smoke. So a crosswind going across the track is going to make for some tight battles, I reckon.
Exactly, and that's what I was talking to some of the drivers this morning. They were actually stoked that the wind was there just to clear the smoke out of the way, which makes us a clear viewing. Ben Hodges there with a beautiful entry there right up onto the clipping point. Beautiful angle pushing through. Let's hope he holds it to the outside there, right out to that massive angle again. Bogger's not giving him any room. He's staying right on his door, right up to the top of the hill. Hodges absolutely smoking those 2-3-5s up the hill. Everyone put your hands together. What a lead run by Ben Hodges. A little bit too late. His chase wasn't as good, but hopefully, you know, the judges will see that.
I think that smoke actually tells us something, though, because right here where Ben Hodges ended up with quite a lot of angle and again on the switchback, I reckon he's struggling for a bit of grip in that S15 where Brendan O'Grady had, you know, the right line and he was there where he needed to be. It looked like Ben Hodges, when he's tried to wash wide and get on the power, it's gone out to lock spots a little bit, and then on the switchback again has gone a little bit wide. So potentially that car needing a little more rear grip, as you mentioned, previously being set up on semis. And for that reason, Brendan O'Grady is going through. Big result.
Well done, Bogger. He's done well all season. You know, he's put himself right up there in the championship. And, you know, he's come out here and I'm pretty sure he wants to take the win of the whole championship and the day. He's feeling quite confident with himself, and it was good to have a chat with him. He's going, oh, this is a good track that he's always wanted to drive, and here he is competing in it for the Hi-Tec Drift Series overall win as well.
Well, he is one step closer in the top 4. That will mean he'll get to battle it out to find out whether he'll be battling for first or third. On the other side of the tree now, we have Jonathan Voudouris leading Thomas McManaway in that blue S15. A big bobble there in the chase, but he seems back on the power. Jono Voudouris, lots of angle that's allowed Thomas McManaway to catch up on the power now over the hill, and the cars are together through there. So we'll head to the replay now to have a bit of a chat about it.
I can't believe the angle. He's just held it all the way through from that first turn. He's kept through that transition zone and straight back through that switchback all the way to that outer clip. Massive angle. He's right on the lock stops there, and again, that quick transition through is what the judges are looking for. He's come on full noise, no backing off. Didn't even look like he touched the handbrake there with the transition. Looked like he done really well as a lead there from Jono.
Worth noting as well that Jono Voudouris is entered in both Pro and Pro-Am today. So he would have been driving out there on semis and on a more street-oriented tyre that some of the drivers are referring to as radials. So, you know, you get, it does make a big difference in these cars, especially when you're in something that's a pretty angry aspirated LS in a relatively light chassis. If you're used to all that grip in the rear, suddenly you go back to a tyre with a bit less grip and you can find yourself there with a bit too much angle through the sections. As we saw from Jono, you know, he kind of doing very similar to what we saw of Ben Hodges, where the car, as he's got back on the power, is wound on lock rather than driving up the hill. And, you know, still a fantastic lead run from Jono Voudouris, but I think that might explain why we saw some interesting angles there.
Sorry, we're just doing a bit of a shuffle up here.
Yeah, exactly. How you going at hacking, mate?
Oh, mate.
Give us a little underleg clap.
Oh, thank you. Well, here we go. Get out there. So as we can see up here in the VIP section, you guys can get your tickets from the Hi-Tec. We got Rob Arbolino sitting nice up there in the hill. Big wave to the fans. I'm pretty sure he's sitting there with Scott's daughter there as well. Little Harper, which is good.
Harper's on the live stream. Hey!
It's good to see her out here supporting her dad, which is good. Alrighty, back to the battle there of Thomas McManaway and Jonathan Voudouris. We've got Thomas in the lead here. A beautiful blue S15. Battle of the blue cars. Nice angle there set through right onto that first clipping zone. Straight onto the power. A little bit of a touch there from Jono. Pushing him through that turn. He said he wants to come through again. Back onto the door. A bit wide there from Thomas, but Jono not giving him an inch. Straight back up onto that inside. What a chase run by Jono, everyone. Get your hands together. He's straight up into it. He's looking tidy all the way through. Nice and wide there, but he's getting a little bit of a bobble. Straight back up on the door. Didn't let him phase him at all. Straight back up onto Thomas. Thomas, too much angle there, unfortunately, which has allowed the door wide open there for Jono. Straight onto the power over the hill. Look, that was an absolutely amazing chase run from what was given from the lead guy. It's hard to chase a guy that's putting on that much angle and hold that much speed against someone's door.
Man, Jono Voudouris has been hungry for a strong result all season, and I think he may have secured himself a spot in the top 4. We will wait for the judges to deliberate and give us a result there, but how angry was that chase? Not only was he all over the entry there behind Thomas McManaway, but then on the switchback, he's had a slight bar clip, but not enough that either of the cars had their line altered, and then stayed right on it again, not letting that touch of the front end throw him off at all. Jono Voudouris just straight back on the power, into the rear quarter, and then again on the switch. Now, this is a battle I've been excited to see. Glenn Ormerod, the Giant Slayer, in that what would be lucky to be, 100 and something kilowatt in the 13B, naturally aspirated under the bottom of this K70 that seems to be walking away from everyone today. Damien Cook trying to chase him back down, but a mistake earlier in the run will hurt him there in that Bling Designs R33.
Looks like he just didn't carry the speed there through. Looks like Glenn was right up onto that outer clipping zone and just held that rear brake just a little bit too much, which caused the big V8 there, a big weight transfer to come right up onto the inside. As you can see, that car is gripped up. He's showing so much speed, Glenn. They've dialed that car in amazingly over this weekend, which is good to see.
Good to see the old E7 chassis out here being represented. Those and the A86 are a traditional of drifting community. Maybe a slightly different engine under the bonnet there with the carbureted 13B rather than your traditional, 4AGE or something like that. But I just love seeing Glenn Ormerod drive a lower powered car. Now, we have got confirmation from the judges. Jono Voudouris getting through into the top 4 of Pro-Am, and he's still going to be driving in the Pro Series as well. I bet he's stoked down in the pits.
I would love to be part of his camp for the party tonight if he takes a win, I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's going to be tipped for sure. It's going to be a huge night.
Those boys, they're keen, and as we can see, we've got Anthony Billick here. He's no stranger to the Sydney Motorsport Park. Usually has a big crew, but it looks like he's out here one out getting himself sorted, which is good to see. Driver and mechanic all in one.
I was talking to Billick down in the pits before, that screaming SR up around the lofty heights of the top end of 300 kilowatt, I believe, that thing. And, he's been fiddling around with it in the pits mechanically, saying it's steering a lot better than it was at International Drifting Cup. It's feeling strong, it's feeling good, but he was just having a few little wiring issues with the thermofan controller. I suggested he just leaves them on and sends it, and I think that's what he's going to be doing, having a bit of a fiddle around out there, but we have seen some good driving from Billick already today.
All right, Mr. Bling himself, Damien Cook in the lead, absolutely leaving that little Corolla for dead off that line, sheer speed of the V8. A little bit shallow there through the outer line, Glenn just bettering the line again. Wide switchback from Glenn as well, but Damien absolutely setting the pace for that run. He just left Glenn for dead.
As we look on the replay there, though, that gap was opened up before the entry, and it opened up a little bit down here, but if you watch Glenn, he's bettering the line of Cookie there through the outside, and through each corner and switchback, he's shortening that gap. There would be at least a 200 kilowatt difference between those two cars, so I don't know, the judges do, they kind of take into account, power differences, car differences, and they are really looking for the best drive out of each of these drivers. Not to say that, you can come out here in a dead stock Commodore and get that for you, but we're going to head to J-Mac down in the pits to see what the vibe's like.
And Billick qualifying into the top 10. You got bumped down a couple of spots by Matt Van Kirk and Bo Yates coming in for a late qualifier. But how's this SR feeling?
It's going a lot more well than World Time Attack. So I had a few issues over there. Done an alternator upgrade, 150 amps, so no more battery voltage issues. Other than that, the new clutch is in it now. So just seat time and just concentrating on myself and skills.
How important is a good measure of speed on this layout?
Well, yeah, you have to, because if you're too slow, then the chase car is going to be all over you. So you kind of have to have that level playing field, You can't be too fast, can't be too slow, you know what I mean? So,
well, let's see how you go. Best of luck.
Cheers, thank you.
Alrighty, so it's good to hear from Anthony Billick. He's a hype of the sport, and which is good. So we're just going to go for the results here. And all three judges are tilting it for Glenn Ormerod there, so it's clearly what you said. Glenn looks like in his chase run has betted all the lines, and he done well to steer that Corolla all the way through the line, which is good to see. Especially him, he hasn't been drifting for the whole season. Oh, it's all about the lead run? His lead, I've just heard. Okay, so I've just been fixed up here by Dan Mackey with a massive uppercut telling me that it was totally down to the lead run there given by Glenn. So he's taken the win purely and fairly on his lead run. So we're just stepping over here to your top 4 battle now, which for the famous Pro-Am battle tree here. So your top 4 will be Adam Burgess versus Brendan O'Grady, and then Jonathan Voudouris versus Glenn Ormerod. So out of them guys, which will the losers from both of those battles will be your battle for third, and whoever takes the win out of them 4 guys will be the battle for the final. So we'll just go down here to J-Mac for his chat with Glenn Ormerod after that battle with Damien Cook.
Glenn, coming off a high, coming off that battle. Mate, how's the 13B going?
Yeah, running perfect like always. It's never misses a beat. It's awesome to drive this car. It's the funnest I've ever had, the best car I've ever driven, so I love it.
Coming up against some incredibly huge horsepower cars out there, what's your game plan? How do you cope with that?
I've just been having fun this weekend, just drive as hard as I can and just show what the roller can do, and yeah, be good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Always humble down in the pits. Glenn Ormerod driving that beautifully prepared K70 with, as he was saying, a carbureted 13B under the bonnet. Now, I believe he's building a bit more of a pro-level car as well, but I'll leave that for him to reveal on social media, so keep an eye on Glenn Ormerod as you can.
And yeah, it's been good to see him. You know, he's wanting to step up into the pro tree, which is good to see. And here we go. We'll have a look at our pro Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars series, and we'll go through the battle tree now for your top 16. James Abbott. First battle between James Abbott and Angus Kidd. The second with Mitchell Dorr, Dwayne McKeever, which is straight into the battles now here with James Abbott leading Angus Kidd. James right up to the outer clipping line, winding on full lock. Angus diving through that switchback, back onto the door. Both of the 2Js singing across the line. Couldn't even hear myself think there with the rev limiters going off on them.
Battling JZ's going hard with James Abbott out there in front as the top qualifier. Angus Kidd knew that he had to match that speed, and that's exactly what he did, coming in hard on the first entry, then letting a gap open up, reeling him in again on the second corner there, and then all over the back of James Abbott across that finish line. I mean, if I was being critical as a judge, maybe the in-out wasn't as smooth as matching James Abbott's speed there in the lead run, but it seemed that Angus Kidd had a lot more speed there, although James Abbott all over the clips as well. So really hard one for the judges there. We'll see them spin around as the first of our pro battles, and I'll just get back to the ladder now that we've got a bit of spare time. So Mitchell Doyle will be facing off against Dwayne McKeever, which will be our next battle, the big international down here. I know a few of you on the stream are asking about that. Another international, Matt Van Kirk, will be going up against Patrick Barley, Aaron Jouar and Brad Toohey, Josh Botcher and Danny Probert, Jonathan Voudouris, who we just saw in Pro-Am, up against Anthony Billick, Michael Bonney against Mo El Hooley, and Scott Shembry against Bo Yates. And just quickly, back to the Famous Insurance Pro-Am, it's worth noting that our Pro-Am top 4 are also our top qualifiers in Pro-Am, showing that the cream are rising to the top and that the judges are able to spot it just as much in a single run as they are in a battle. So fantastic to see there, the talent rising to the top, and I'm sure we will see similar as we head into the top 16 of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars Pro Series.
And another note there, we've got Bo Yates and Matt Van Kirk on opposite sides of the trees. So if both of these drivers do get through on their battles and they have to meet, you know, they do have to make the decision on who takes the car, and I'm pretty sure we know who's going to do that.
Yeah, there has been an agreement there that Bo will get the car if it happens, but that will be not until the top 4 at least. Here we have Angus Kidd out in front with James Abbott chasing. And again, the huge speed of that Game On Motorsport Supra is obvious here. A little bit messy with a bobble through the middle there, but James Abbott nailing a lot of the judge lines there in the chase as well, all over the clipping points. So will that bobble from Angus Kidd reel out the difference of the exceptional speed he had in the lead?
Exactly, and as we can see, you do have James Abbott there bettering every line. He's riding that judge's line in the chase. Little bit more of a gap given to him to the lead driver, but again, the judges did say they want to see the chase car. If they can better that line, they should better it.
And these are the sorts of decisions that are really difficult to judge, because each driver has their pros and cons in different areas of the battle, and that's where it gets really difficult, looking at what the regs are, where the driver's briefing was, and exactly how they're instructed. So that's part of the reason we've got 3 judges, and I'm glad I'm not one of them.
Exactly, you know, and it's good to see we got all the pro drivers there standing there looking at the competition, you know. We got Brad Toohey there with Scott Shembry, just making sure they know what's going on, which is good to see, supporting each other and, you know, looking at what the other drivers are doing, because at the end of the day, they do have to battle each other. They seem to be all friends and everything like that, and we'll go live to the results here with, I think we're going to go to a one more time there.
That's a huge result. James Dean Martle, the only one to tip it towards Kidd, and actually, sorry, that might be a mistake on the graphic there. So that was a unanimous one more time from the judges, and that's fantastic to see there, that even in the top 16 we have such tight battles. down to the tiniest margins.
All right, so this is a battle here from the Irish legend, Dwayne McKeever in the chase there. He's doing well to sit up in that BMW, which he hasn't been driving much for the rest of the weekend. Mitch Doyle setting an absolute killer lead run by Doyle. But again, Dwayne McKeever there, he's really limited on that 2J. He's killing it right up onto the inside there of Mitchell Doyle. Even bettering the angle in a chase run, which is really hard to see, especially being on the door as well.
And also, this is the competition debut of that CRC E46 BMW. We did see it doing some demos up in Queensland, but this is the first time it's been used in competition. So fantastic of Hi-Tec Drift Australia to throw the keys over to such an interesting international, but he's not going to have an easy run with Mitch Doyle, you know, having killer results throughout the season and hungry for it down in the pits when we were talking to him earlier as well. So this is going to be a tough fight the whole way through the top 16. And we'll switch them around to see if Mitch Doyle can chase Dwayne McKeever.
And exactly, I was talking to Dwayne as well this morning. I did my usual pit walk through and just talking to all the drivers, and I said, mate, how do you feel about driving a car that's not yours? And he goes, well, technically it's mine and I don't care about it.
Hey,
and I was like, I love it.
that.
That's exactly what I want to hear. So we know that him in the chase, he's not scared. He's going to put it up onto the door. He said, I'm not scared of a little bit of a rubbing. And he goes, I can't fly all the way to Australia and see how you guys drive and not push to my very best. He goes, it wouldn't be fair on myself and it wouldn't be fair on my Irish home crowd. So it's good to see that he's ready here and he really wants to push, and he said he wants the win.
Man, anyone who's worried about what their car's going to look like when it goes on the trailer going into a drift comp is probably going to find themselves on the trailer a bit earlier than they'd like. So, you know, it's great to see Dwayne McKeever just bringing that aggressive, keen-to-win driving style and attitude down to Australia. And, you know, for any internationals out there on the live stream watching as well, we'd love to see you here battling it out with some of the best the country has to offer. The order is switched around now with Dwayne McKeever out in front of Mitchell Doyle in that blown V8 S13.
Massive
Fantastic
entry.
car with a lot of speed. Both of these things quite quick mid-track. And Mitchell Doyle diving in there all over the door of Dwayne McKeever, switching back together up over this hill section here. The car's barely separated in terms of road speed, so it will come down to the judges and how they feel these drivers have hit the judge line.
Exactly, just going through the replay, you can see Dwayne not backing off that loud pedal the whole way through, right to that outer clipping zone. But again, Mitchell Doyle not giving him an inch. He's switching at the exact same time as Dwayne. Again, straight over the top of the hill there. I wouldn't be scared to say that this will be your second one more time here for your pro battle tree. These guys, they've really turned it up today. You can see the speed between these guys, between the Pro-Am and the Pro Class, and they're really dialing in the cars, especially coming over the top of that hill. I can see all the fans and everyone, especially the judges. These boys are coming up third, fourth gear, right up through, clicking it on top of the hill, and all three judges clapping their hands here.
Yeah, I can't believe this is the level of driving that we're seeing in the top 16 already. On to the next battle now. We have Patrick Barley, who's had some killer results and drove so well down at Calder in our previous round, up against the Toyota Genuine Parts 8.6. But behind the wheel of that car is Matt Van Kirk, all the way down here from the USA. He's had what we've been calling an extended Australian vacation, taking a break from Formula Drift to come down here and battle it out in the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars, getting a strong result in our very first round, coming out away with the win, and then maintaining those points the whole way through the series to be second only behind Bo in the championship standing going into the final round.
But you left out one key point there, and I know no one has spoke about it. Matt Van Kirk has not driven the same car in any of the rounds this season.
I was
not
saying
the
to
same
down
car.
the pits, musical cars, that's huge.
For someone to come in and go through every car like that and still put himself in second position is amazing. So we'll just go here over to the battle between McKeever and Mitchell Doyle, and we have one more time with Dan Mackey only picking McKeever there for the win.
Hey, I completely agree with that one. There were little points of each where there might be a deduction on either driver, but I feel they were pretty evenly matched, so let's run them again. How crazy is that, though? That means that our first two top 16 battles have both been one more time. We're going to be here all night.
Exactly, you know, but it's good to see, you know, you got him. Oh, so we've just been told that we've still got the lights there from last night, which is good to see. But look, I think with the way the day's going, these guys are just going to push through these battles. I can't see too many one more times coming, especially through to the top 16, which has been good. These boys are really starting to sort them out, and as you said, you know, it's really sorting the boys out. They're pushing hard and they're really pushing the lines. But it seems as though today it's really coming down to all set up in your lead run. All judges have been pushing to make sure that these guys are set up for themselves in the lead. And again, here we go, Matt Van Kirk in the lead in Bo Yates Toyota Genuine Parts. Patrick Barley there in the chase. Absolutely, Matt Van Kirk sending it a little bit too wide there through the transition, but again, pulling himself right to the outside. Oh my Lord. And we've got Patrick Barley right up onto the inside there of Matt Van Kirk. Matt, a little bit straight over the top of the hill there, but still pushing power. Didn't see too much angle coming up over the top of the hill. But again, Patrick Barley not giving him an inch. A little bit shallow there on the first turn, but again, dials it straight back into the second corner. Both of them sitting to the outside clipping zone. Patrick transitioning right through to the inside on the e-brake there, but again, right through the hill. Both of them so shallow and straight right up the top of the hill.
The judges here deliberating, trying to work out, where that goes. Obviously, fantastic lead run from Van Kirk. A couple of shallow and straightened lines there for Patrick Barley, both on the first corner entry and then on the third corner coming up the hill, also finding himself a bit shallow. But he was on the power there, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there, potentially not just finding the angle that he needs. And that's a difficult one when you're not only going up against someone with, the battle skills of Matt Van Kirk, but also in a championship winning car of that Toyota Genuine Parts 86 from Bo Yates.
Exactly, and it all comes down to that. He's got to feel confident with himself as well, which is, it's a hard thing. That car is, I think they did 3 years on the standard engine. They've only just rebuilt it yesterday, and to get thrown the keys for that, that's a big step. Especially hats off to the team there to letting Matt Van Kirk drive that, which is great. But we see you guys on the live stream there, which is good to see. So
the judges have asked for another replay here, and we'll walk you through it as it's on the screen. So Matt Van Kirk nicely on the inside clip there. Maybe a touch wide through here, but he's gone right to the track edge. It's beautiful there. And then this is where we see Patrick Barley just go that little bit shallow, straighten and bobble, and then switch back into that transition. So that's a pretty clear mistake there from Patrick Barley in the chase, which is going to be really hard to claw his way back from unless there's a big mistake from Matt Van Kirk in the chase, which we're about to see.
Exactly, and he's been given good on the chase all year. He's been really confident with himself. So hopefully he's not too scared to bang up some of the panels on this Genuine Parts 86.
Well, I'm sure Bo's down in the pits nail biting, and I bet that didn't help his nerves out there. It's a beautifully presented car, and I'm hoping it'll go back home in one piece. But there will be tight battles, and as the final round, I know that both Bo and Matt Van Kirk will be leaving nothing on the table. But same goes for Patrick Barley, who's travelled quite some way to bring this car here in probably the best race rig setup we've seen. The big old sprint car truck, fit a couple of cars in the back there. It's a beautiful setup.
Exactly. So we'll have Patrick Barley there in the lead. A little bit shallow there, but putting on the angle there once he comes into turn one there. Absolutely clawing his way apart from that Toyota Genuine 86 and Matt Van Kirk. But Matt looks like he's pushed himself to the outer clipping zone and again back onto the inside clipping zone. But absolutely, Patrick Barley setting the pace there. He was quick straight over the top of that hill. Found some good form there.
So as we head to the replay, you see Matt Van Kirk looks as if he left a bit of a gap there with the intention of catching Patrick Barley up the hill, but that's a very dangerous decision to make, even in the top 16 battles, because when Patrick Barley was back on that power, he's rocketed up the hill, and even the Toyota Genuine Parts 86 was unable to catch him.
Exactly, and it just showed that he just taking that little bit shallower line did let him carry the speed right through the top of the hill, and it shows the different speed that he had from his chase run to his lead, which is good to see. Really stepped up pace. Looked like clicked it up a gear as well, which is great.
Man, that's massive, and it's going to be a hard one for the judge to call. And that has gone to Patrick Barley.
Patrick Barley taking the win, so we might have a quick talk to the judges there and find out exactly why they handed it over to Patrick with
if I had to guess about it, as much as Matt Van Kirk slated in the lead run and there were some mistakes from Patrick Barley, he was nice and close with a bit of proximity, whereas when the positions were switched, Patrick Barley pulled away from Matt Van Kirk, who was at least 3 car lengths away, even trying to reel in towards the end.
We're just going to have a quick chat to the judges here and we'll come back. But again, we see you guys on the live stream. We'll be coming up to the one more time again between James Abbott, which will be good. So we're just talking to the judges here, Dan Mackey and Dan Keneally, just explaining to us through the straighten.
We're going to head to our next battle now, where we have James Abbott leading Angus Kidd. We have seen these cars go around one time before, but it was an OMT. Both of the first two top 16 battles were OMT, with Patrick Barley being the only clear result here from the judges.
James Abbott setting a nice clean lead on there, but Angus Kidd diving way up onto the door there of James Abbott. Really setting himself up, but again, pushing too shallow there, pushing too hard through Jabbett. Looks like a bit of a touch there to the back of James Abbott's car, causing a little bit of dramas there to Angus Kidd, unfortunately. We'll just go through the replay here. Again, look at the angle that Angus has wound on, but again, really shallow, which has wound off too much speed, giving a clear distance between him and James Abbott. That's why he's had to take that shallower line through turn 2. James right through that clipping zone, getting his nose right up into there again. Slow transition right up over the top of the hill, but again, finding that top clipping point right in front of the judges. It comes down to that first turn. We can see Angus, he really wound on the lock there, but again, it didn't help him in the advantage rate because of how much speed he had to wind off.
And I think that's characteristic of what we saw the first time around in these battles as well, where James Abbott, potentially a little bit lower on the road speed, but all over exactly what the judges were looking for, where Angus, very fast, very aggressive, but maybe missing some of those points. And now as we switch them around into an OMT, as you called there, we had Angus Kidd coming in aggressive as behind James Abbott, but then off that power a little bit where Jab's pulled away. Then as they've switched back, maybe trying to reel it back in. And then Angus Kidd on that third transition back, just tipping it in hard, but maybe not having the rear grip there to hold it. As he's gotten back on the power, trying to straighten the car back out, it's done exactly that and full-blown straightened, which is a huge call for the judges. We're switching him around now. Angus Kidd leading James Abbott here. And you can see that speed again in the game on Motorsport Supra. Angus Kidd putting it all on the line here. He knows he's made a big mistake behind James Abbott. Again, aggressive through that switch there. But Nigella, the Blaze unit, S15, right there with him, not lost in the smoke at all.
Exactly, so we can see then, Angus, what you were saying before with the chase and the lead. He shows the speed in the lead here. And again, with James Abbott bettering the line again right to that outer clipping zone, but Angus absolutely powering through that upper clipping zone and sending it straight up to the hill, leaving James for dead through the top there. But I couldn't see what he come through the transition zone, which is going to be hard for the judges to see as well. There's a lot of smoke on the track. Couldn't see how much angle James had right behind him, but clear definition there to pull away from Angus Kidd, which is good to see. He found his form. Seems to be confident in his lead runs, but again, this is drifting. You've got to have a good lead and you've got to have a good chase, which all comes down to your points. You just can't win on your lead run.
Yeah, that game on Motorsport Supra with an engine by Trev in it, it's a monster. Big, I think, 42 or 45 series turbo on that thing with a whiff of nitrous to try and get it on. And there's the result, a clear call from the judges there. James Abbott going through, securing his spot in the top 8 as our number 1 qualifier. He's got to be stoked with that. And we still need to see his other Blaze unit teammate come up. Scott Chemery in that Hi-Tec Oils 350Z. Before we get there, we'll see our second OMT of the top 16. Mitchell Doyle getting the opportunity to lead. Dwayne McKeever both on the line, and there's the release from race control now. The supercharged V8 S13 up against the 2JZ E46 BMW. Dwayne McKeever right there with Mitch Doyle. He's not giving him an inch. He knows it's gone down to one more time once before. Mitchell Doyle a little bit shallow on the outside zone there. But then Dwayne McKeever lost out in the back there, potentially trying to avoid contact as Mitchell Doyle has come back to transition, but that's a huge mistake in the chase.
Again, we've got Mitchell Doyle there setting an absolute killer lead run, giving plenty of room and nice angle there for allowing Dwayne to come right up. But again, as we see through that switchback, Dwayne just shutting off completely. Don't know whether he's got lost in the smoke there or just couldn't see where the transition point was. But again, that's clearly given the points one-way advantage to Mitchell Doyle, especially. That's what you don't want to see in a one more time, especially coming all the way over from Ireland here to compete against these guys. But as we know, Mitchell Doyle all year, he has not given anyone a chance. If you're going to take a battle away from him, you've got to earn it.
Definitely, and yeah, long way to come to do these battles, but at least getting a one more time and a hard battle from the outset. So we will switch these guys around again, and Dwayne McKeever will get an opportunity to lead Mitchell Doyle. But first, that is a big mistake there in that chase.
100%. You know, it all comes down, was it a car failure? Are they going to go back here and have a quick look at it, or is it personal error where he just couldn't see and just backs off, you know? So once we see him come back up to the line, hopefully we'll see both cars straight back into it, just comes up with a personal error.
Yeah, from my perspective, it did look as if, Dwayne McKeever has just rolled off a little bit to avoid the switching back tail of Mitchell Doyle. You know, he was very close there, and remember, it's not his car, so you do need to avoid that damage. But at the same time, it just seemed like an odd mistake, unless there was a mechanical there that I missed, because it looked like he got back on the power through the rest of the run.
Exactly. All right, we've got both on the line here, so we do have Dwayne in the lead here against Mitchell Doyle, both fingers pointed, and away we send it straight through. Dwayne straight back onto the power. Looks like might have been a bit of a personal error there in his chase, but Dwayne McKeever, big flick entry, massive entry right out to the outer zone. Really, really massive angle coming through there again. Mitchell Doyle popping through the smoke there, right back onto the door of Dwayne. Again, through the switchback. Dwayne set a little bit baked there, a little bit slow. You can hear the V8 back off there. But again, what a lead run set up there by Dwayne. Look at that, straight over the rear bar, all the way through that wall there.
Huge entry there from Dwayne McKeever. The only hard thing is, though, that the judges said they're specifically not weighting the entry as heavily as they could to allow these drivers to position themselves throughout the rest of the run. So huge entry from Dwayne McKeever, and you saw just on the tail end of that replay there that Mitch Doyle got maybe a touch lost in the smoke there. I'm not too sure, but he ended up mid-track, if not towards the outside of what should be an inside clip. So that's going to be a pretty critical mistake.
Could we go one more time yet again?
Oh, I'd love to see it, but I don't know. It does, like a slightly wider line, balance out what is a zero from a huge straighten. So I don't think so. I could see it, going towards Mitch Doyle on that technicality, but I know everyone here would love to see Dwayne McKeever keep driving. So we'll leave that one for the judges, and it's going to be a difficult call.
Exactly. So
there we have it. It seems that straighten for Dwayne McKeever has been what sends him all the way back home to Ireland, with Mitch Doyle getting the win there and a spot in the top 8 to face off against James Abbott.
That's a tough pill to swallow for him, coming all the way over here. But again, bowing out to Mitch Doyle. He's been a championship contender all season, and he's really got his car dialed in, especially here for the South Circuit. That V8 has absolutely been singing all weekend, and just comes to show that when it comes to the pressure time, he kept his car in loop and all the way through and finished his lead and his chase run. That's what it come down to.
And Mitch Doyle seems to be one of those drivers who can strike the perfect balance between consistent and aggressive. You see a lot of drivers either lean towards being consistent and sometimes won't have that cool power we want to see, or otherwise end up too aggressive. Anyway, speaking of aggressive drivers, we're going to head down to the pits now as J-Mac catches up with Josh Botcher.
Botcher piloting the MCA 370Z this weekend at round 5 for the Hi-Tec Drift Australia Series. While not a theoretical chance for the championship, you're here to keep the front runners honest, aren't you?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, it's I really enjoy the championship, and I think it's a really good series and an opportunity to drive the Murray Coots or MCA's 370Z is great. It's a really well set up car, and yeah, having a great time.
This is a car that you drove last time. It was round 3. You had about 5 laps of practice. A good practice session yesterday. How are you feeling in the seat today? Because there's a completely different setup.
Yeah, it's very different. It's definitely got the grip that my car has. Its forward bite is fantastic. I just find it definitely a bit more direct in its steering than mine. Not quite as much power as mine, but very close. And the speed of the car's really impressive. So yeah, it just seems to be able to put it where I want to, and for not very many laps in it. We're very happy with how we're going.
Give us a quick rundown on your thoughts of the competition here. Some of the drivers are really top level, aren't they? Yeah, look,
it's not going to be an easy run. So I think we've qualified well, and I know that there's plenty of guys to look out for in the championship, and we're going to try and go all the way, obviously, but it won't be easy.
Best of luck.
Thanks, mate.
Love watching Josh Botcher drive. He's also got that perfect balance of aggression versus consistency. But anyway, back to the action at hand where Aaron Duar leads Brad Toohey screaming through the last section of the course there.
Absolute 2 V8s, masters of the sport here. Aaron Duar in the lead. Big NA against Brad Toohey in his twin pro-charged 86. You can see
Brad sending it out there to the outer clipping zone, a little bit wider there than Aaron Jouar. Again, through the middle clipping zone, he's a little bit shallower again, but Aaron showing absolute speed coming up that hill on the bake right through. Massive angle coming through that second clipping point. That's a hard one to judge, especially, there's a little bit of gap between the two cars, but each had their own better points. With Brad Toohey at the start of the run, looks like he bettered the line, but then again, coming through the second transition, looks like Aaron Jouar really clicked it up a gear and said, look, I really got to catch up some points here, and he done well.
This is a track that really suits Aaron Jouar's car. Super lightweight S14, angry, naturally aspirated V8 from Jouar Performance Engines. And when he's on the power, exactly as you said, Jake, coming through that middle section there, as the hill climb started, Aaron Jouar's car was able to put that power down and just rocket away up over the hill, whereas Brad Toohey potentially having to pedal it a little bit, trying to chase that traction as the big twin supercharged V8 8.6 just tries to lay that power down, but a little bit heavier with more power as well. It's just a difficult one.
Yeah, it's hard to call, and that with this, it's not the longest track that we've done all season, but again, the technical that the guys have to do through here with the four corners that they have to chase, your transition lines, that's where it comes down to. If you can't transition exactly where the judges want you to and pushing out to that clipping zone, you've made or break your run, especially coming in from turn one, where they did say that they're not going to heavily judge them for what their entry is, but then coming through that transition, you've got to be ready to dial it in.
Yeah, that's a difficult one about South Circuit. As much as it might drive itself a little bit when you're just doing whatever line you want, when there's a technical line laid down, it can be difficult. Huge entry by Aaron Jouar behind Brad Toohey, trying to avoid contact there, but he's managed to hold on to it. Oh, dabs, you madman! Coming through behind Brad Toohey, all over that door again, rubbing the rear bumper of Brad Toohey's car through that transition. Can't wait to watch the replay here.
What a replay here. Aaron Jouar absolutely full lock, almost backy right into the back there. Both rear bars touching Brad Toohey all the way through. Brad Toohey, not even a bobble, sending it straight to the outer zone. But again, too shallow up there through the transition. Again, Aaron Jouar pushing the rear bar of that 86 through that second turn in the outer clipping zone and pushing him right up the hill. I can't believe it.
Man.
How did he come through the back there, right through, from a reverse entry straight back up to giving him a nudge through the second transition point? We have the judges up here. They are absolutely stoked. They want to see the replay. Crowd, get your hands together. I can't believe that was here. That's it. That's for your top 16. I can't believe it. Brad Toohey, what an entry by him as well. Not to bobble and step back, and then knowing that Aaron Jouar has put it in backwards.
Here we go. The judges wanted to see that again, and as Aaron Jouar's come in behind Brad Toohey there, it looked like he just had superior speed, expecting Toohey to be a little bit quicker through there. There was contact, but it didn't seem to alter Brad Toohey's line in a way that was detrimental. There could have been a slight movement, but Jouar definitely making contact there, which has helped him hold on to that backy to an extent. But the most impressive part for me is through that middle section there. Most drivers, as they've got back on the power, there would have been a moment of straightening there, but Aaron Jouar, in that typical, aggressive, beautiful driving style he's managed to reel that backy back in, stay onto the power, and then nail the next judge section. That's incredible.
We got a fan club there, but look, guys, we can see is absolutely hype it up. Get that live stream pumped. We're pumped up here. All the judges are pumped. It's amazing. That run, that seals the deal for me. Aaron Jouar, he said he wants to come away for the win with a lead and a chase like that he's just done. I can't believe it. Coming off the back there from that reverse entry, and again, tapping the rear bar of Brad Toohey. That shows your car's dialed in. You've got the grip, but again, you've got the horsepower coming through.
Oh, the judges calling it. That's one more time. That is massive result. Oh, Axie is blown away with the one more time result there. He can't believe it. We are stoked to see that as well. I'd love to see those two drivers go again. Before we get a chance to do so, though, we will have Josh Botcher in the MCA Suspension 370Z up against Danny Probert in X Drift.
This is amazing. I was talking to Danny just before this, and he said, look, I'm going up against Botcher. I've got to wind some grip into this car to find some speed. So let's see how he goes against the chasing. Josh Botcher here in the lead here in the 370 MCA car. Absolute killer entry there. That renowned bobble that what Probert's been doing all weekend has been hard. But again, Botcher right to that outer clipping zone, straight back onto the power. Big transition there from Danny Probert. But again, he's just been left a little bit behind there from that 370. Sitting right on the line there, pure driving style there that Botcher always shows. He sets the line, he stays on it, and all the way through. Consistent throttle control, minimal handbrake right through the rest of the run. It's good to see him set up a good line. Unfortunately, Probert just not sitting on the line and getting up right onto the door, which is a bit hard to see for him. He's been a tough contender all year, but again, it's just left it down against maybe Botcher's got in his head a little bit.
Yeah, Botcher clean and committed throughout. X-Drift piloted by Danny Probert. Just, a couple of steps behind, a little bit of a bobble on the entry, which is going to be a negative point for the judges. But it's up the hill where you really saw that as Josh Botcher was, kind of all over those clips, still leaving the room for the chase driver. Danny Probert almost ducked out of the chase and ended up on the rear bumper of the 370Z, which is a really weird position to see from a chase driver, and a bit of a hard one for Danny Probert there. But I reckon at least for that battle, Josh Botcher's going to get the nod, but we still need to turn them around, and it's time for Danny Probert to lead.
Exactly, and it comes down to both of these guys, they've been in the series before, but Botcher, again, driving a car that's not even his. It's great to see the MCA team throw the keys for that. I know he did a few testing of it up in Queensland when he was up there in the last round before what we've seen, but again, today, he's just shown that he's confident in himself and in that car, which is good. We've got to see how we go for the lead run here. We'll see if that bobble happens again. It seems to be, he's been doing it all weekend, and hopefully he gets it sorted here for his lead run and can really set himself up and do an amazing run, which might reel back in some points there. He could put a little bit of pressure and Botcher makes a mistake, but that's hard to see, especially with Probert, the way he's been going all year. We really want to see him take a win here, especially for the final round. These team, they've been putting in the hard yards. Oh, looks like a little bit of bobble there off the start.
Potentially an issue going on there with Danny Probert's car. It is his turn to lead, so let's see if he can get this car off the line there.
Both guys pointing at each other, and we'll just see what's happening here. But again, guys, keep your hype up. These guys coming over the hill. We want to see his clapping, showing the support to all the fans out there as well. We know it's windy out there, but it's good to see he's all still here. Danny Probert in the lead, Josh Botcher in the chase. Probert, big entry again. No front end bobble, which is good to see. Right onto that inner clipping zone again. Right, sending it nice through. Right to the outer clipping zone. Absolutely amazing there by Probert. This is the lead run we needed to see. Right up the hill, big power. I can't believe it. He's just turned that lead run around. He has pulled away from Josh Botcher.
That is massive, Jake. As we head to the replay now, huge entry there from Danny Probert. Scando straight into that corner. He stayed on the power here. Beautiful through that outside zone there. And I think this speed has caught Josh Botcher by surprise, who in the MCA 370Z was able to maintain pace with him through the early part of the run. But as they come across the finish line there is at least a car length in that, if not two.
Are we going to go to our fourth one more time in the pro battle tree?
We're still on one side of top 16. We haven't even got over to the other side of the battle tree, and we've had two OMTs already. We have had an OMT pending between Aaron Jouar and Brad Toohey, and this could be our fourth.
I can't believe it. That's what it comes down to. You got to. It's good to see Danny Probert got in his own head there and said, "Look, I've really got to put in a lead run that someone's got to chase." And he left the door open there for Botcher to come up and do a really good chase run. All his angles were right on the judge line, and there was plenty of room for him to come right up on the door. Again, it was wide open. He didn't take it. Points, I don't know. The gap between what happened there with Probert in his chase is a bit hard to see. But again, could come to what we want. But again, I think that it's still going to go Botcher's way purely on his lead run.
Yeah, it's a hard one there with the bobble of Probert in the chase, but he was still able to maintain proximity. Whereas when that switched around again, Josh Botcher had that little bit of pulling away, but we are going to see it one more time.
One more time?
Huge!
Oh my God, guys, can we get your hands together? We got another battle again. These guys here absolutely sending it hard. We got thumbs up from everyone here on the VIP grandstand, which is good to see. We've got lights. It's good. We could be here till 10 o'clock tonight. Doesn't bother me.
Why not? I am keen to see battles the whole way throughout. If it's one more time all day, sure, difficult for the judges, but we are keen to see it. We have Aaron Jouar now coming out for this one more time up against Brad Toohey. Let's see what he does in the lead. Brad Toohey there for the chase, tucking in, but looks a little bit separated here even early on in the run. Bit of a straighten there from Brad Toohey as he reinitiated there into the outside zone. Aaron Jouar on that power, but Brad Toohey right there with him, a touch shallow through the last section there again.
What a lead run there by Aaron Jouard. We can see nice entry right through. Not as big angle, but again, right to that clipping zone, pushing it nice and wide. Again, pushing it to the outer clipping zone, not right to the edge, but giving him enough room to come through. Beautiful transition. Front tyre right on that yellow line, which is what the judges want to see. Left the door open again. These guys are setting absolutely killer lead runs, but again, the speed between the lead and chase car is what it's coming down to. These guys are catching each other off. We know that each lead run, they both have the speed and in the chase, but again, it's all coming down to once they're in the lead, these guys are full noise the whole way through.
Very, very difficult one to split there. Oh, it's hard because, you know, Aaron Jouard laid down a killer lead run, but Brad Toohey was there with him. There was a straighten through the flat section there, and you know, it was only ever so slight, but you could see the car come to a straight line and reinitiate into that second corner going for the outside zone. So that is a bit of a deduction there for Brad Toohey, but you know, he was all over the back of Aaron Jouard through the top section where he was only gapped towards the end of that run as well. Oh, it's difficult. I'd kind of lean that first one towards Aaron Jouard, but we do need to see them turn around again, where we saw Aaron Jouard putting in a crazy chase. So, yeah, judges deliberating. We can see them going back and forth about, you know, where those points may lie. Even on the first of these OMTs, the drivers circulating around again on the start line and ready to rock, awaiting release from race control.
Yeah, it's been a hard one for the boys, especially the judges up here. They've really struggled. It's all happening, and you know, calling all these one more times, it takes a strain on these guys because they've got their criteria that they've got to stand to, but they start nitpicking at the littlest things between whether it's a front end bobble or he hasn't pushed the outer line. Going through here, Brad Toohey in the lead. A little bit shallow entry there from Aaron Jouard. Again, right up onto the door there. As we said, speed from the lead run is happening again. Brad Toohey pulling away from Aaron Jouard. Too much angle then from Aaron, which has caused him to just really set it wide. Brad Toohey taking the clear advantage there with a little bobble through the switchback.
Yeah, Toohey quite nice there on the entry. Aaron Jouard tucking in nicely here, but it's up the hill where Jouard's just over-rotated a little bit there. Hasn't been a straighten there, but it has allowed Brad Toohey to open up a bit of a gap in the lead there. You know, if we're looking at it on the sum of parts, Jouard did open a similar gap over Brad Toohey there, and Toohey did have a straighten down the bottom of the hill, so that's difficult. Will it go to an OMT again?
It's hard to call, you know, because what does it come down to? What do the judges? They've really got to go back. They can't just give out one more times every run. Do they go back to the run before, start putting at the points and say, look, he's been more consistent over the two battles, including the one more time? Then they start picking on both lead runs and both chase runs.
Yeah, very, very difficult one to call there, but I'm sure the judges will work it out.
Look, let's go to you race fans at home. Get on the live stream. We want a big like button for Aaron Jouard, and we want a heart button for Brad Toohey. Let's see what we got.
And there's the result. It is unanimous that Toohey getting through there, making his way into the top 8 with Aaron Jouard going home. It's a hard one to call there, but you know, I think you got it with the over-rotation from Aaron Jouard happening down the bottom. It seems that the straighten from Toohey through the middle wasn't as bad as we thought. And so, yeah, Toohey getting through.
I'm devastated. But again, Brad Toohey, gentleman of the sport, it's good to see him take the win there. The judges, all three judges there, just give me the fingers to show that it was just absolutely minimal points between the two of them on who takes the win there, which is good to see, you know. Unfortunately, it wasn't clear decided, and it was that close coming down to minimal points between the two of them on Brad Toohey taking the win.
Big result, and that means we have at least the left-hand side of our battle tree shaped up, where James Abbott will be facing off against Mitch Doyle, and Patrick Barley will be battling Brad Toohey. Next, off the rank, we're sure to see Josh Botcher up against Danny Probert to finalise their OMT, before we have John Oviduris against Anthony Billick, Michael Bonney against Moel Hooley, and Scott Shembry battling Bo Yates, which is sure to be a hot one.
I know, and we haven't seen Scott out on track all morning, so it's going to be good to see him up on the live stream, which we can see a few guys. We've got Isaac Gett out there. He's one of the competitors, unfortunately having some car issues. So we see you out there, buddy. Hi back to you. Good to see you still at home watching, which is good.
Shows how much I know. So Josh Botcher and Danny Probert will be battling it out shortly in their OMT. But first, John Oviduris leading Anthony Billick.
Pro-Am versus the Pro.
Yeah, and we have seen John Oviduris securing himself a Pro-Am top 4 position. But That's the question, is who is the Pro-Am and who's the Pro, with Anthony Billick having a big understeer there. But then John Ovadouris to the outside. He would have otherwise had this as an easy win there, but that is a 0-0 for those two drivers. That is heartbreaking for John Ovadouris and also for Anthony Billick, who seemed to have a big understeer there early.
How do you call that? Both guys absolutely making two mistakes. Jono given the win and just going way too wide there, taking out that good ride sign. Just because you're in the pro class and this is what you're sponsored by doesn't mean you need to hit the sign, mate. Well done. Really pushing to that outer clip zone just too much.
That is one of those heartbreaking things you see in drifting, where early on in the run, that was a win for John Ovadouris, but then he's put two wheels off with what could have been a safe banker run, where here you see Anthony Billick entering just that little bit shallow, having a bit of an understeer there, but he didn't quite straighten. It did kind of count as a bobble there, but there's two wheels from Jono. So what the judges are deliberating is, yes, that was definitely a 0 for Jono, but was that actually a 0 for Billick, or was it simply a bobble on entry?
Exactly, you know, this is what the judges come down to. I'm lost for words. It's so hard to call. This track is just delivering. It's your final round, and we've got these guys throwing down big. Like, I've just seen on the live stream there, Dane just saying that Jewel's getting his Levi backy on entry before Oosh. Mate, I understand exactly where you're coming from. That entry there by Jewel, I still can't believe he brought it back from that. That's insane. Hopefully...
He's a weapon.
Exactly. To be knocked out like that, it's a bit hard. But again, going back to that battle, you got to call it. You know, you've got him being in the lead. He had it given to him and just pushes out way too wide. He had it won from turn one. He showed a little bit more speed there against Billick, but Billick looking like he ran into car troubles. But again, Billick, how he is, he stayed composed and right through. Just going through the replay here again, as you can see, Billick looks like he locked the front end there, which caused him not to get any front end grip. Jono going, you can see he's looked back and then boom, two wheels straight off. Unfortunately for him, that's going to be the 0 on his side, is what I would call it, because it looks like Billick, he stayed on track. None of his tyres went at the yellow line, although he did have a bit of understeer and a hard off for initiation. It's hard to see.
And I think the judges with their sharp eyes are actually right there, where, yes, John Ovadouris got the two wheels off on the outside, but Billick, as much as he did have a big lock-up and you know, what you could characterise as a bit of an understeer from the front, the car still maintained some sort of angle and was out away from being straight ahead. So you can't technically rule that as a straighten. It is in the same sort of class as, you know, what we saw Danny Probert before, having a bit of a bobble in the chase. So you kind of categorise that as a bobble, and yes, it's a deduction, but is it a 0? No. Is two wheels off a 0? Most definitely.
Exactly, and so we'll get verification there for the live stream, because I do see surely that's 0-0. But again, Billick, he looks like he's dialed in that entry point, which is good to see. A little bit outer to the outer clipping zone. Jono taking that nice shallow line, staying away from the zone. Billick filling that outer clipping zone all the way through. Hands together, Billick showing where he's from, right through that outer clipping zone, right on the yellow line, going through the good ride replay here. We can see him straight through the middle there. Quick transition to the outer zone, straight back onto the power, all the way through. He's kept on the power again. No handbrake initiation through the switchback, right through to the middle clipping zone, staying in the middle of the track and front end right over that finish line. All judges here nodding, which is good to see. Billick set a really good lead run, showing a little bit more speed than he had before. Again, Jono, he was not left behind. He was still there, but just not the pace that Anthony Billick showed.
If it was a hard one to call before, I'd say it's firmly been put into Billick's advantage there with some fantastic speed. Beautifully filled the outside zone in the second corner before climbing up the hill there. And there we have a unanimous decision that Anthony Billick will be going through to the top 8 there. Unfortunately for John Ovadouris on the trailer after dropping two wheels off the outside. So a heart-wrenching decision there. But John Ovadouris, my mistake, isn't on the trailer. He still has a top 4 battle in Pro-Am.
Exactly, which is good to see. You know, he did step up here with the big boys and looks like he did have good runs through. Unfortunately, just his own little error there causing him to come back. All right, so it looks like we've got Josh Botcher back on the line for our one more time between him and Danny Probert. Correct?
We'll see if he's able to front up in a sec. Potentially coming out of the pits, but that MCA suspension 370Z done all of its tyre warming with Josh Botcher on the line and ready to go for that OMT against Danny Probert. We've got them on the line about to get the release from race control. Ooh, I'm keen to see this one here because Danny Probert in his second run nailed that chase, and he seems to be getting comfortable with the car with the additional grip in there. So will he give Josh Botcher a difficult battle?
Here we go. Nice entry there by both the boys. Probert, diving in just a little bit too hard, showing a little bit too much speed, which has left him. The MCA car dialed him with a bit more grip right to the outer, but he's back up onto the door there of Josh Botcher. It's good to see Probert come back from the middle there, which is good to see. A little bit more speed up the hill going through the replay here.
So Josh Botcher is leading in that MCA suspension 370Z, where Danny Probert's come in a bit too tight, backed off to allow that gap to open, but then started reeling that 370Z back in through the tail end of that run. Exactly what you were saying before, Jake. It looks like there is a bit more grip dialed into that XT Falcon of Danny Probert's. Very, very quick car to be putting it on the door of that MCA suspension 370Z. Josh Botcher's got to be sweating after that one.
And it's crazy to see. These guys are having bobbles in the first initiation, but again, they're showing the speed and grip to come back up to that lead car. Like, there's smoke and everything. These guys are filling this track full of smoke, and he's still diving right up, back up onto the inside. That just shows that Probert's in full trust of the car that's in front of him. To come up through that switchback, come out of the smoke and dive straight back onto the door of someone like Josh Botcher, you finally found your groove and you've got your speed.
And worth noting is that the judges have said that they're not weighting the initial entry as heavily as they need to. So, you know, where we saw Billick have that bit of a lock-up and that ended up seeing him go through, that was an obvious call based on there not being too much weight on the entry. And again here, yes, Danny Probert, you know, maybe opening a little bit of a gap early on, which as he goes through the middle section, that will start to affect his score. But the way that he reeled Josh Botcher in up over that hill is going to be a cool benefit.
Alrighty then, so Danny Probert in the lead now. No bobble again, which is good to see. What a run. Right up onto that inner clipping zone, straight through the switch, right to that outer zone, sending it nice and deep there again through the switchback. Massive angle from Danny Probert. Did we see a wheel drop? I'm not sure if I've seen it there, but it looked like the front left wheel of Josh Botcher there straight off on the ripple strip. It was a one tyre off there. I'm not too sure. We'll have to check with the replay.
So Danny Probert in the lead on that track edge. Fantastic entry there on the power. Little lift there to try and bring it back in and then straight back on the power through that outside zone. We have the MCA suspension 370Z through. There is a hop there. I think that inside wheel, I reckon you've called it, Jake, that did hit the cement bump, but immediately on the other side of that cement bump is grass, and that is outside the track limits. Could potentially be counted as a single wheel drop.
That's a hard one to call, and that's what it's coming down to. I thought I seen it, but there was that much smoke on the track, and the speed that was shown. Again, when Probert's getting in the lead, he's just on fire. He's setting really good lines. He's right up to all the clipping zones, and that's where he's dragged Botcher straight up onto his inside door, but there's no track left, and Botcher's thought, I've got to keep going. But unfortunately, it looks like he's dropped a wheel straight off the inside there. I don't know how hard they're going to deduct a point for one tyre in a chase, especially in a clipping zone. Does it go clear advantage to Danny Probert?
Yeah, I mean, we do have to go back to the regs, and it is quite clear there that a single wheel drop is a point deduction while 2 is a 0. So there will be just an automated point deduction there, and then it'll go on the merit of the battle either way from that point. So considering both drivers were so close and Danny Probert managed to lead quite well, there we have it confirmed by the judges. Danny Probert knocking out Josh Botcher in the top 16. Huge scalp for Danny Probert to take. He's got to be stoked with that to now be going through into the top 8 and facing off against Anthony Billick. That's a massive result.
Hands together, everyone. We've just had Danny Probert take out one of the masters of the sport all the way from NT. It's good to see that he's finally found his form on a track like this. It's good to see Probert setting up some good speed. I'm pretty sure the team will be happy with that.
Speaking of strong drivers, we have last round's winner, Michael Bonney, leading Moel Hawley, who has been such a great driver throughout this season. Apparently having a few steering issues, as has been a big characteristic of this Garage Works S13. But Moel Hawley all over the back of Michael Bonney through that last section there. The judges erupting with excitement as they came past the judging box.
Just going through the replay here. Michael Bonney, nice clean line here right through. Again, right on the power to the outer clipping zone. Mo, massive angle coming through, straight through the transition. But look at that, straight onto the door there, right through again. And then again, Bonney straight back onto the power and straight up the hill. It's showing that Bonney's got that car gripped up. But Mo, what a dive through that transition. Come out of the smoke, straight into him, right onto the door. But again, just couldn't get the power down right through to that top drive. The judges will be looking at the drive that they're following up the hill.
And it's funny, you know, Mo's proximity activity throughout the majority of that run was as a result of his road speed, whereas Michael Bonney pulling away on that last section there was to do with that S15 just being incredibly gripped up. You know, Mo was on that power the whole way through there, and then there was no lift there that caused Bonney to open that gap. That is just a high power JZ, you know, huge turbo and nitrous with a whole lot of grip in the back. So when Bonney put that hammer down, it's gone.
And as we can see, it was right up. There was still nice angle all the way through that transition, right through, which is good to see.
So I reckon, you know, considering that gap was opened, not to do with the driver error and more to do with the difference in car setups, I don't know how harshly the judges are going to look on that gap opening, especially considering it's on the very last section of the run that's practically a straight with a slight kink on it. So, you know, really, really strong chase run there from Mo El Houli, and if I had to pick it either way, I'd slightly give him the nod.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. Again, now we're going back and switched it around here. Mo El Houli in the lead. Michael Bonney, last round winner in the chase. Nice entry there by Mo El Houli, right through to the inside clip. Nice transition, nice and smooth. Just giving a little bit of a gap there between him and Michael Bonney. Right up onto that ripple strip there, front end right over. Nice lead run there by absolutely Most, dialing in that judge's line. All of his cars right into the clipping point, front, right through, and the rear where they want it.
Here we'll see the replay where Mo El Houli perfectly on the outside and then inside clip on the entry, filling up the outside zone there. But Bonney right there with him on the switchback there, a millisecond behind, if that. But it looks like Bonney just bobbling away slightly in that second to last corner there, potentially struggling to hold back the grip and speed of that S15 behind what looks like a slower car. And it's funny to think that, you know, a 400 or 500 kilowatt turbo LS S13 can be considered the slower car in this battle, but it seemed to be in terms of mechanical grip and vehicle speed through that last section. So, you know, what seemed to be a bit of an advantage towards Mo in the chase may have been picked up there through the rest of the run there. On the live stream there, we can see the rest of the Swab family. Matt, our director, in the van working hard with the family out there, seeing him in a home track and the hard work he does. Matt Swab making this series exactly what it is and getting us around the country with the live stream at home. There's the result on the screen, unanimous from the judges. Bonney going through there, that's massive with Mo El Houli.
What an upset to Mo El Houli. You know, Bonney, he's in form. He's finally found where he wants to be, and look at that, again, he's just put his foot down and the force is given to Team Bonney, which is great to see. Can he come back with back-to-back wins? Alrighty, guys. Look, we see he's out there on the live stream. Let's get some comments happening. Tell us who you want to see up for your win. We want to see who you are going through for the top 8. We want to know what judges you want to see. Exactly. Any questions for us up here in the commentary box? We're happy to answer them, and we can pass them on to the judges as well. But we want to see who your favourite driver of today is. Get in the comments. Get your hashtags happening. Hashtag Hi-Tec Drift AU on all social medias, please.
Hashtag torch it. Hashtag woulda. Hashtag get up it. I'm keen to see the rest of these battles today. Michael Bonney, you know, that's such a great result for him considering he got the round win at round 4 down at his home track at Calder, but showing, hey, it ain't no home track advantage. I can bring it up to Sydney as well. So he has secured himself position in the top 8.
Yeah, Dallas, we can see you there with any rotors. Look, if you stay tuned in, you can see the Pro-Am. We've got young Glenn Ormerod there with his little NA rotor, which is good to see, and he's done really well today as well.
Yeah, that's about as classic as a rotor he gets. 13B with a big 51mm Weber hanging off the side of it. That's a classic combo. Could have, you know, brought that thing straight out of the 80s when that Corolla was made, and it would have looked just as home then as it does now. Love that vehicle, Glenn Ormerod. Can't wait to see him get back out there. We do have our final battle of the top 16 for the Pro here with Scott Shembry and Bo Yates both eager to secure themselves a spot in the top 8. Bo Yates has practically secured himself the championship win already, whereas Scott Shembry has to play for points here. You know, he's got drivers ahead and behind him within, you know, less than 10 points. So he's really got to win this battle if he wants to get a strong result for the championship.
And, yeah, you know, here he is now. Scott Shembry, he's got to really secure himself right through here, because I think it's from 3rd position right through to 8th position. Anyone can take 3rd place in the championship standings. Again, here we go with Scott Shembry in the lead against the car and owner of Bo Yates. Not giving him an inch there on the chase. Scott Shembry, massive entry there. Bo Yates right up onto the door there of Scott Shembry. Smoke right through that transition zone. Scott burying it right to the outside. Did he drop a wheel there, Bo Yates? Looks like Scott Shembry has come up there. Has he taken a clear advantage right through over the finish line? I'm not sure exactly. Couldn't see, but it looks like he's ripped the whole front bar off the car. Whoa. Clipping that clipping point. All judges standing up. I can't believe what I just seen. All I seen was smoke and then a front bar. I'm not sure exactly where. Let's go through the replay here.
I think we're going to have to see this replay a few times. Now, Scott Shembry out in the lead there. Aggressive entry. Bo's there with him. Then they come through that inside clip there. But as they switch back, Bo kind of backed off a little bit back on it. That would have had to be at least one wheel drop, if not two. Then another wheel drop there on the inside clip from Bo. And then straight over the ripple strip here for another wheel drop. So in total, that is 3 separate wheel drops throughout that run. Super uncharacteristic for Bo. But one of the last wheel drops there is just after the judged area. So messy run there. We're about to see another replay now on the screen here for the judges.
Absolutely foaming there down the hill, Scott Shembry. Let's see where he goes through the inner clipping zone. We can see him straight through the switchback. And again here, sending it nice and deep. A little bit bold, but again, Bo Yates looks like he's straight through here, come through, and again, right over there, we can see Scott Shembry absolutely selling a killer lead run, dragging Bo Yates right out to every outer zone and looking like he's forced three wheel drops. But we've just been confirmed that the last wheel drop by Bo Yates over the finish line was after the racing and judging line.
Judges still need to see some replays here because that was so fast-paced. We're going to watch it again on the screen. So here we see Scott Shembry out to the beautiful outside area there. Bo is with him, but then backs off, tucks in again, shoots himself wide with at least one wheel drop. But then up the through here, I don't know if we're going to see that camera angle there, but I definitely spotted an inside wheel on grass from Bo Yates there. So it's a hard one. He's definitely got himself some deductions there. I'd say the ball is in Scott Shembry's court now. He needs to put together a tight chase but make sure that it's clean enough without giving himself any issues.
Yeah, and again, like Scott Shembry, he's setting the judges' line. He's all the way filled all the criteria that the judges have done. And again, he's put that much pressure on Bo Yates to sit on his door that he's had to take it that extra wide. It's just not staying within his reason and pushing it just that too wide. Again, so now we're going to have Bo Yates in the lead, Scott Shembry in the chase. Massive battle here because he knows it's all on the line. Bo Yates, big entry. Scott right up onto the door there of Bo Yates, straight through the transition. Coming again, right up onto the door again. Oh, a little bit of a bobble there from Scott Shembry. Looks like he's wiped it off. Unfortunately there, Scott Shembry, oh my God, he's thrown it all away in turn 2. Does it come down to a 0 there? Are we 0-0 for both of these guys in their chase? That's got to come down to a one more time.
That's hard there. Both of them have made mistakes here, but that was a massive mistake from Scott where Bo managed to reel it back in. Scott's done pretty much the same thing. Hasn't gone off there. He stayed within the yellow line, but straightened 2 or maybe 3 wheels off there and nearly through a barrier. Massive mistake from Scott. And, you know, as much as Bo's mistakes, they were offline and on a technicality, he still managed to maintain drift, maintain some angle throughout there. And sure, he would have got a deduction. And if Scott had laid down a killer chase run, then it would have been a no-brainer. Scott would have gone through. But there's a hard one there for the judges where I've got a feeling that through Scott straightening and then going 2, if not 3, or maybe even 4 wheels off past that yellow barrier where we can see race control just, you know, hiding up some signs there. Oh, I got to say that Scott's got to go. But here's another replay now of the first run now.
Got Scott Shembry there in the lead, sending it nice through that clipping zone. Here we see the bobble happen there where he's getting straight back onto the power on the brake. But again, dropping the rear of the car from Bo Yates. But again, straight back through the transition. There's one wheel straight off there we can see from Bo Yates, which is a better angle there given to the judges, which the judges are then deliberating right through. So the judges have just asked for another replay here from a different angle so that we can see.
Yeah, the judges are getting some slow-mo replays here. We're just going to quickly deliberate with the judges.
1 second.
You can see the guys moving that right up and in just to get it right on that inside clip, maybe back just a tiny bit. But here comes the replay now. Scott Shembry in the lead there. The judges trying to deliberate on what these mistakes would have been from Beau in the chase, because Scott's was quite a clear one, but some of Beau's were hidden by the smoke. So that inside wheel, I don't believe he's got that onto the dirt, but it's a hard one to see one wheel there. But there was definitely another wheel drop where we can see the barrier being pushed out now to avoid that. But there was definitely a puff of grass coming out from under the wheel. You can see the dirt there where that front wheel's gone through as well. So Beau has at least gotten 2 wheels off, but then Scott in his chase has gotten 3 off as he's come through there, and he's straightened. So purely on the summary of mistakes, it looks as if it's leaning towards Beau. But on the other side of that, it's so hard to see. We'll watch that replay one more side. There we go. That is 3 consistently. Yates gets the win.
Yates taking the win there. The judges heavily deliberating right through there. Look, that would have been one of the hardest judges' calls. These guys here, they've battled all year, and that looks like it's again Yates to taking the win over Scott Shembry. That's a hard pill to swallow for Scott Shembry. But again, look, with the mistake that he made coming through there, and again, both of them making the mistakes, Scott's mistake was just a little bit more on the excessive side.
As you could tell from the number of replays we had to work through, the judges taking this topic very seriously. But as we counted up the wheel drops there were 3 very clear wheel drops in a single instance from Shembry, where he straightened up and gone off the track, whereas Beau had one small wheel drop, another small wheel drop, and then the third one was after the judge section, so he's gone through there.
All right, so just stepping over here to your top 8 battle tree. Leading the battles here, we've got James Abbott versus Mitchell Doyle. Across to the other side, Danny Probert versus Anthony Billick. Back down there to Patrick Barley versus Brad Toohey. And then your final top 8 battle between Michael Bonney and Beau Yates. That's your top 8 battles, guys. We have 4 of your top qualifiers still in the running here, which is good to see. And again, there's a few upsets here. Patrick Barley seems to be making his way into the top 8 yet again, as well as Danny Probert, which is good to see. Both of these boys on the bottom end. But again, look, we've got the run again from last round, which is good.
We're seeing a repeat here of some of the battles from Melbourne. You know, Michael Bonney and Beau Yates, that was our final at the previous round. We got Patrick Barley up against Brad Toohey. We've seen that one before. Oh, I cannot wait to see how this shapes up for our top 8.
Yeah, that's a hard one. You know, these guys, this is coming up to the top 8. Unfortunately, some people have to be knocked out. And again, you know, that's what it comes down to. The Suave family, they're all waving to Dad. They can see him, which is good to see. Proud dad moment over there. I know my family, Melissa and Paisley, are at home watching as well, which is good to see. This is your family sport, which is perfect for everyone. So make sure that we're getting down here and supporting.
Massive, massive result there for the top 8. And I believe before we see those top 8s battling, we will see the top 4 of the Famous Insurance Pro-Am Series, where we have Adam Burgess up against Brendan O'Grady and John Overdouris against Glenn Ormerod. Sure to be some serious battles, and there we have that tree confirmed.
All right, so going over to your famous Pro-Am battle tree, your top 4, your battles are between Adam Burgess and Brendan O'Grady, taking the battle to 3rd, and as well as John Overdouris and Glenn Ormerod. Well, these guys, that's your top 4 tree. All these guys, they're all in contention for taking the win, especially between Brendan O'Grady and John Overdouris. That's going to come down to the pointy end of the points here on who's going to take away the points for your Pro-Am series overall, and as well as today's win. And back onto the track now for the Pro-Am top 4 battles. We have Adam Burgess in the lead against Brendan Bogger O'Grady.
Sure to be one hell of a battle. Adam Burgess was gutted down in Calder Park, having, you know, wheel stud issues knock him out early on. Good to see him in the top 4, where he is eager to prove his worth in the mighty BA Falcon XR6 Turbo, followed by the Japanese equivalent of an XR6 Turbo, a JZX100 Mark II, with Brendan O'Grady having quite a few scalps under his belt, battling so well internationally, and we can see that experience now right out to the track edge, both drivers. This is a battle that is nailing the judge line, and exactly what we want to see from our top 4 of the Pro-Am series. Judges erupting up here, as they love to see that as we head to the insurance replay now.
And this just goes to show why Adam Burgess was your #1 qualifier here again, setting right through to the outer clipping zone again. Getting the rear of that BA right to the outer clipping zone through the transit, a little bit shallow, Brendan bettering the line, but again, staying quick snap back through the transition, straight back onto the power, giving himself a little bit of a gap. Looks like he's got a little bit more grip driving up the hill there against that big boat in the JZX, but again, what a chase run by Brendan. You know, he didn't leave any inches there. He was right through the transition and the switchbacks, both onto him as well, which is good to see. And again, diving straight back up onto the inside through the second switchback, coming up to the hill. That's what it come down to. Adam Burgess, just a little bit more power, getting that power to the ground right up the hill on those 235s.
Yeah, and it seems like one of those battles where there's very little separating, and that's the sort of battle you want to see for the first of a two-part battle. You know, with that lead run, Adam Burgess up against Brendan O'Grady, no super clear advantage, potentially ever so slightly towards Adam Burgess, but as we switch them back around, it means that it's all going to be critical on that second part of the battle as Brendan O'Grady leads.
And yeah, and we got you guys on the live stream. That was a clean battle. That's your Pro-Am class, and to see such driving between the two guys there, they're both sitting up the top end of the battle tree, smooth transitions, both of them on the judges' line. Adam, that's why he qualified first, and it's good to see that he's still out here in a battle format, still running that judges' line and making sure that he's nice and smooth. Bogger, he's got the championship in sights. I'm pretty sure he's just taken over Daniel Mesmer in the lead for the championship. It's good to see.
Wow, that is huge. Huge result there. We're going to see them turn around now. It's going to be Brendan O'Grady's turn to lead Adam Burgess. We've got them on the line now, waiting a release. Judges just deliberating to get a result from the initial run there, as it was so close. They do need to split hairs here and find out how far that advantage goes either way before we see them turned around. And here we go. Brendan O'Grady off the line now. Adam Burgess right there with him, knowing that it's going to need to be a tight chase if he wants to be in for a chance. That's exactly what we see here as both cars come through the flat section, about to climb the hill. Adam Burgess a touch behind, potentially with a bit of a straighten in the transition. Both of them together. Brendan O'Grady nailing that lead, but the XR6 Turbo of Adam Burgess just left behind slightly through that last section there.
Absolutely beautiful lead run there by Brendan Bogger O'Grady. Burgess setting it right up there onto the rear bar, but Bogger just pushing it through that clipping zone right to the outside. A little bit of a bog there from Bogger. Looks like he's on the clutch there one or two times just to give it a big kick up the hill, giving a little bit more room for Burgess to just dive straight up again. But again, that power of that JZX. Looks like these guys, when they're in the lead, they get that clear air in their car and it's getting the power down.
And you have to remember that this is our famous Insurance Pro-Am series. So the whole purpose of this is for these drivers to get the hang of what a chase technique's like, how close they can chase. And it's admirable to see them chasing this close in Pro-Am series. And we do need to give them a bit of leeway there of you know, getting comfortable with what you need to do to get out of the pocket as the car switches back and then tuck in again. So leaving a little bit of a gap there is kind of the safer way to go, and I'm very impressed with how our Pro-Am drivers are driving today.
100%, you know, just watching Bogger come through that turn 2 transition and really giving those big Woombars on the clutch. I know Isaac Gett will be proud seeing that, especially pushing the car to its limits, making sure that he's getting that power in the drive straight up that hill. But Burgess not going through, not chasing as close as he want up the hill.
But there's the result. We get a one more time for Keneally and James Martle, with Dan Mackey leaning it slightly towards Brendan O'Grady. But that's enough to trigger a one more time. Cannot wait to see those two spun around and run again.
It's the day for one more times. We're just one more time after one more time, and it's showing off in the Pro Gas. This track here, you've really got to make or break it. You've got a really clear lead and make sure that you're setting up. And again, coming into chase, it looks like you can't really define on who's going to take a battle from just each lead or chase run. It's all coming down to the nitty-gritty. The judges have got a hard call for today. I'm really glad that we're up here just talking and throwing our 2 cents in, which is great.
But that's exactly the thing that we come here to see, is tight battles, difficult calls from judges. You know, when there's a big mistake or a clear decision, you know, playing at home, it's, you know, you want to see the excitement. You want to see these drivers next to each other, door to door, running again, you know, battling hard, and heartbreak is part of the sport. There always has to be someone going home for every winner in a battle. But it's exciting to see Adam Burgess and Brendan O'Grady getting the opportunity to stretch their legs again and show their talent in this top 4 battle to decide who will be battling it out for the top step on the podium and who will be fighting for that 3rd place trophy in our runner-up final.
Yeah, and it does come down to today, exactly. So we've just, Martel's just come in here and just letting us know that both of these drivers are really emulating really well, and their transitions have seemed to be the high point of what the battles are showing. So both of the guys have really put their foot down between two transitions, and that's where they've made most of their points.
Hopefully we'll get them back round to the start line soon, because I am keen to see either those drivers battle or John Overduris and Glenn Ormerod.
But again, what you said, this is your Pro-Am class, and to hear a judge of the sport really say how good that these Pro-Am guys are transitioning, that's a good effort. Imagine when these boys step their cars up, if not a bit more power, throw on some semis and what they can do between them and the Pro class, which will be good to see. If they can transition like that on these radials, imagine the speed and power that they're going to have in the Pro class.
Yeah, and we are getting towards the pointy end of the Pro class as well, with our top 8 decided, as we saw previously. We'll run through that battle tree for you again one more time, just while we're waiting for those drivers to come back around. So we'll be seeing James Abbott up against Mitchell Doyle, Patrick Barley battling Brad Toohey, a repeat of what we saw in our top 4 battles down at Calder Park, which was also the case of Michael Bonney and Bo Yates, while Danny Probert getting through to battle out against Anthony Billick. Both drivers, having little bits of heartbreak here and there throughout the series, maybe not driving to the ability they wanted to, or having, car-related dramas here and there. So it's fantastic to see both Danny Probert and Anthony Billick getting spots in the top 8 where they can throw down, give it their all at the final round to see which one of them goes through to the top 4 of our Pro.
And that's what it's coming down to. These guys in your top 8, it's your make or break it point of the thing. You've already had 2 battles up your belt from today, and you know what your car's going to do. The track's nice and hot. You know what your car's ready for. And to come down, they're not just little names here, Patrick Barley, straight up against one of the veterans. He's won his championship before. He knows this track. He's driven it before. I'm pretty sure this is the first time Patrick Barley has driven on South Circuit. Quite sure. I'll have to check with him later on, but I'm quite sure that's exactly what he said. So I've just heard from the spotter. Yep. So it is his first run here. So I've just heard from the spotter, Matt Kavanagh. They are changing an alternator in the X-Drift Falcon there. So they've had a bit of an issue there from the last run.
Right.
So the boys are up and on it, which is good to see. So I know he's got a good team behind him, and Matt's been up here on the hill really relaying some points down to the team, which is good. We've seen him there on the live stream sitting up here with his X-Drift shirt on, which you can go and buy from him. I know that he'll love it.
That's a good thing about the iconic Barra from the XR6 Turbo Falcon. Just go for a walk through the car park, look around for an alternator. I'm sure you'll find one. Maybe pick and pay less just down the road, cruise down there. Great thing to use these local chassis and local parts. Means you can go look for stuff where, good luck finding, bits for a JZX or something like that, unless you know your way around Facebook Marketplace.
Exactly, and the boys really showing that it's ready to go. So here we are with John Overdulis in the lead against Glenn Ormerod. A little bit shallower and later entry there from Glenn, but Jono's showing the sheer speed of that V8 NA right through to the outer zone, keeping it on the track this time, which is good. Nice transition through the middle there, but Glenn winding him in through the transition zone. But Jono, nice clear lead run there from Jono right through to the outer clipping zone.
Great entry from both drivers there. Glenn Ormerod just getting left behind a touch as Jono gets on the power, but watch him reel in Jono as Glenn comes up the hill in that little NA13B KE70 Corolla. Jono definitely having the speed and the smoke advantage there, opening up a gap on Glenn Ormerod, but Glenn in the chase, bettering Jono's line in a few places, especially in that outside clip zone at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah, and it's a hard one to call there too, because when you're looking at it from the live stream, once we seen in the replay, there did look like though that Jono had a little bit more angle through the whole of the track, which I do know that the judges do look on it, showing that he was a little bit slower, but he did have enough angle for the judges to see that he was making a difference, which when it does come down to drifting is all about the angle that you can do at a nicer speed.
Quick shout out for the live stream as well. We've got Sean McDonald there saying, Jono, go you good thing. I agree, good on you, John Overduris, but also good on you, Sean McDonald, the man behind Gearbox Masters, the manual transmission specialist down in Minto on the south side of Sydney there. He helps Jono get to this event. I believe he's done a bit of work for Gus, Mickey Moo down in the pits, you, Jake, me. He's rebuilt all my boxes and diffs. I'm picking a diff up from him just this week once I get back. So, shout out to Sean McDonald and Gearbox Masters there. Fantastic shop for anyone who may need some work done on a gearbox or diff.
We've got the Waterhouse brothers up there on the grandstand living it up. Doesn't have his fancy glasses on this time. Hopefully we'll see him back next year competing again. it's good to see him out here still supporting. I'm pretty sure he's in Glenn's camp with the NA Masters.
Talking about NA Masters, we got Glenn Ormerod in the lead here in that little red K70, but John Overdoris all over the back of him. Little shallow on the angle there to then allow Jono to tuck in again. Look at the emulation of the chase. That front bar gone for John Overdoris. And then we've seen Glenn Ormerod straighten. Did he straighten as a result of that contact, or was he just freaking out about it?
He was all over him, Jono, straight up there. What an entry by Jono. I know that they don't pick on it, but that entry straight up onto the door of that little roller, doing amazing, which is good to see. Right to the outer clipping zone, but again, through the transition, that's where he's hit it. I do not think that it caused... I don't think that it caused anything for Glenn. I think it was just a bit more of a scare for Glenn to hear the noise from behind him.
Yeah, and watching that replay, you know, Glenn Ormerod clipped the front bumper of Jono on that transition back, which, to not make things confusing, yes, Jono was in there tight, so the contact was his fault as the chase driver. But as he switched back on the way through there, Glenn's car continued to transition before he buttoned off the power. So it'd be unfair to say that the contact by John Overdoris altered the line of Glenn Ormerod. Instead, I believe that he rolled off the power after hearing the noise behind him and caused his own straighten, which if I was a judge in my eyes, I'd be saying that the chase car did not alter the line of the lead car. Then Glenn did not maintain his drift and Jono was able to overtake. So is that a win for Jono? Oh, I don't know.
I'm going to call it, and I'm just saying there, I'm just going to send out a prayer to the car gods there, because John Overdoors, that's the fifth front bar that he's ripped off that car this season. Not one, not two, not three, not four, five. 5 rear bars he has demolished.
1 per round.
Exactly. And look, well done to him. Absolutely killer chase run. Beautiful dive, as
in the words of our boy DJ Khaled, another one.
Exactly.
We're
just
going to head down to the pits now with Brendan O'Grady and J-Mac.
Bogger O'Grady currently leading the Pro-Am division, but you are right up there with Gricey snapping at your heels. How are you feeling coming into the final round?
Look, we're feeling pretty good. New to the track, so there's a lot of hype behind the South Circuit. Hi-Tec, obviously, were here a few years ago, so it's good to be here. The track is amazing. Does suit a high horsepower car with lots of grip, so hopefully it comes down to a battle between me and Gricey. We're on opposite sides of the tree, so it could definitely come down to that. We have a lead of 58 points, but it doesn't really mean much. We've qualified in 4th, so we will get some points for qualifying. Gricey, I think he's down a couple of spots, so it all comes down to battles. If I potato and get knocked out early and Gricey wins, it'll be very, very close points.
Well, best of luck, mate.
Thank you.
Oh, a couple of creams on the stand. Now, remember, there is an ice cream truck up here on the hill, so feel free to get after it. I'm sure to grab a cream after my job here is done. But, you know, great to hear from Brendan O'Grady down in the pits there how tactical all of these drivers seem to be. They're watching the battle trees. They're figuring out, you know, what the qualifying orders are, where the points are going, and what they need to do throughout the battle. So, Brendan O'Grady, a true competitor who is eager to make his mark on the Hi-Tec Drift Series. Eager to see him get back out there. The track marshal's doing a fantastic job just trying to get those bits of fiberglass off the track, although I don't think they're really going to bother anyone, so maybe we'll get that action back up and going shortly.
But like what you said, it's good to see, you know, this is his first time stepping into the Pro-Am Hi-Tec Series, and he's really taken in consideration where he's qualifying, where he's coming up against in the battles that he's going to have, you know. The points that he's gone against Matt Grice, it's that close that they are coming down to where they've qualified in positions, which is good to see. And again, big cars like that, Gricey unfortunately knocked out earlier during the day, which is hard to see, but look, he's done well and he's done a good overall season. So now
He'll be in the running for points and a championship ladder there.
Yeah, and again, you know, we're just going to go thanks to all our sponsors. We wouldn't happen without the sponsors that were here. Big sponsors all the way through for the Pro Series of Good Ride, Hi-Tec Oils, Famous Insurance, Kitten Ultra, and a new one for the end of the season, Zoo Performance, all the way from Thailand, and VRC, Vango Rapid Repairs, and again, BSC, Box Stock Performance, down all the way from Victoria. These guys here, I'm sure if you get all on the pages and like the pages, they're all throwing out deals to everyone that support the Hi-Tec Drift is good. And again, motorsportstv.com.au, that's where the live stream comes from. Swabsy and the boys absolutely putting killer effort every round, making sure that you guys and the judges get all the replays to make sure that the decisions are made proper and final.
Speaking of decisions, the judges just deliberating now over this replay to try and work out what has gone on there. Now, Glenn Ormerod nice and fast on that lead entry, and then Jono Voudouris coming behind him there nicely on the transition, in and tight, but it doesn't look like on the transition Glenn Ormerod's line was altered at all. He's rolled off the power while Jono stays into it. You know, a fiberglass bar doesn't offer a whole lot of resistance, and while a crash noise can be a little bit scary, it sounds like, you know, Glenn might have just rolled off it there rather than, you know, being altered in any way by the contact.
Yeah, and just held on by a few cable ties, and it shows the rear bar of Glenn Ormerod's car doesn't even look like it's got a scuff on it, so I don't think the hit was too hard as well, especially from what you just said then. Fiberglass, not much force to knock it off, and it doesn't look like that it's done any effect to the back of Glenn's car.
Man, the K70 is just like a mini R31 Skyline, a brick on wheels, and they are indestructible. And look at the transition there. Yeah. So he's clipped a little bit of tail light and clipped some bars. So sure, Jono was chasing a little bit closer than he needed to. But did that in any way force Glenn Ormerod to stop his drift? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. You know, I think that, well, from what the judges are saying and what me and you, we're no judges ourselves, and we just love a good time up here, which is great to see.
But as a couple of qualified Pelicans.
Exactly. I think that it's just he transitioned onto Jono Voudouris, and the way that he's backed off, it's just enough to rip the bar off because it's only cracked on one side. I don't think it was a full ram straight out the back of Glenn. Look, again, this is why we're just commentators and a couple of Pelicans, like you said.
And hey, you know, if you got to put it in perspective, how about you know, Jouar's entry, where he's come up on the chase there and touched, and both drivers have managed to maintain their drift. There we have it. There's the result. Jono Voudouris getting his chance to battle it out for the top step, so he is guaranteed at least a second place trophy. While Glenn Ormerod will have to battle it out for third place in our runner-up final.
Exactly, and Jono's been hunting for a win all season, and, you know, coming this close to it now and guaranteed a second position in this last round. That's absolutely going to be amazing in his camp tonight. I'm sure the frothies will be poured. Engines by Trev, they'll be there supporting him, which is good. Porter Performance helping him out with the wheel alignment. Dialed in all weekend.
The suspension wizard.
He is. He's amazing. You know, I think he's got 15 cars in the field. I know I watch every Friday. You see him put out all the cars in the late nights that he puts in the week before the Hi-Tec round, and it's good to see, you know, that Porter is really helping all the guys. So we're just talking to the judges now, a bit of deliberation there on reviewing, and they're going to give us exactly why they've picked Jono Voudouris for the win. So you just spoke to Dan Keneally there. What did he have to say?
Yeah, judges confirming what we were thinking there, that as contact was made, Glenn Ormerod has chosen to roll off the throttle and stop his drift when there was no need to do so. The car was already transitioning back. If he'd stayed into the power, it would have maintained its drift, and Jono would have been able to chase as he needed to. Jono, on the other hand, maintained his drift despite making that mistake, a light mistake behind and causing the contact, but that was nowhere near in the league of mistakes of Glenn rolling off. So Jono staying into it, causing an going into the overtake and taking that lead position there.
Yeah, that's a good call by the judges. You know, it's a hard one for them to see. So we're just going to go through some of the highlights of today, which is good. Thank you to Motorsport TV. Big Jono there, number one. Okay, so boys, this is where you judge lines and everything like that. Look at some of the paintwork on these cars. The wrap jobs that have come out from Bling Designs and everywhere through Sydney is amazing to see.
Oh, X-Drift doing a bit of tyre warming. Get after it. That's
bit of a tip in. It's good to see the sun out here. Mickey Moo.
Moo, who's been nicknamed by one of his young fans, Moo, the AK-47, just by how aggressive that limiter is. Another one of the highlights there where you see Jabs and Angus Kidd doing battle. That was one of our first OMTs of the day.
Absolute smoke frothing up the hill there. Two of your favourite looking cars here.
Oh, mate, I was in love with Odger's S15. That's such a cool car, and I'm a massive JZX nerd as well.
Especially seeing Odgers, he's just come back from Japan. Good to see him throwing down with some of the Hi-Tec boys. Dwayne there throwing that 2JZ Beamer right through. But again, look at Doyle straight back up onto the inside. Patrick Barley. He's done well all season, you know, he's been the underdog. He hasn't really put it on the top step yet, but he's been consistent every round with the points, dialing it in right through. Mitchell Doyle, again, that's where all the pressure through the day. The reverse entry by Aaron Jouar.
And there's the contact we were talking about before as a good example of, what to do when you chase car contacts. You Brad Toohey staying into that, not phased by what would have been a much harsher contact than the one we just saw through Glenn Ormerod and John Overduris. But you know what? This is all about lessons and learning, and that's exactly what Glenn Ormerod had the opportunity to do.
Exactly, and him making sure that all he had to do, what you said and what Marlon said, that all he had to do was stay on the pedal. But unfortunately, he's got a little bit scared there from the tap and, just backed off, handing the win over to Jono. But well done to the judges for picking up on that call and sticking to the guns, because they make the rules and that's what it comes down to.
Definitely. And, we do have to back those decisions 100%. And I think in this case, and in most cases, it was the right one.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why we've got 3 judges and they all deliberate between the 3 of them. Each one has their own thing that they're looking for, and it's good to see.
There we have a replay of that one there that we were just talking about, and it was one of our highlights of the day. So what we are waiting on is a rerun between Adam Burgess and Brendan O'Grady, who will go one more time to decide what our final 4 Pro-Am is going to look like, and then straight into the top 8 of the Pro Series.
I'm nervous because we've already had 4 one more times in the top 16, and coming through to this, especially the track now, temperatures are up there. The boys have dialed in their cars. They've had a bit of time. As we can see, X-Drift, he's changing an alternator in between rounds. I know that he wants the full power and potential out of the car. Showed that in winding in a bit of a grip, and he's got the speed now. So coming in against some of the big boys, it's going to be good to see.
They're released now. We have Adam Burgess leading Brendan O'Grady for this one more time. Adam Burgess right on that track edge there. Nice entry, but Brendan O'Grady is with him, although slightly behind, diving in now into this outside zone. Bogger dialing that proximity in as we come through this last bit of the run. Beautiful chase there, but then a straighten from Brendan O'Grady through the last section of the judge line.
Exactly, so nice entry there by Adam Burgess right onto the judge line for the first clipping point in the front end. Pushing it nice and deep, no handbrake, not fighting the car at all. Quick transition through, just a little bit wide on the outside of that transition. But again, straight through the switchback. A little bit of a straight in there, as we can see from Bendon. Looks like a little bit of a stall, maybe. Not enough speed, or just a gear change coming up the hill to make sure that he sits on the rear bar. It's hard to call, but looks like a little bit of a bog from Bogger O'Grady.
Yeah, and having that straight in there, we have seen a similar call before happen to people in earlier rounds there, so I think the judges will be pretty harsh on that straighten.
Oh, look, I don't think they'll be too harsh. It is your Pro-Am class.
Yeah, we'll see how they go.
The way that they've been deliberating all day and the driving skills that these Pro-Am boys, they're putting on a show as if they're pro drivers, which is good to see. Well, technically they are pro drivers, but in the Pro-Am class.
Hey, I think they're doing a pretty professional job out there, and the cars are looking professional. Like this has to be one of the best famous insurance Pro-Am series that we've had so far.
100%. The boys really turned it up all year, and what my favourite thing is, every round these cars are turning back up, looking just as what they did in first round. Maybe a little bit more gaffer tape hidden underneath and a few more zip ties. But again, look, Jono, 5 bars from 5, and every round he's turned up with a brand new bar, painted fresh. So it's good to see that they take pride in the looks and knowing that they can potentially pick up sponsors and other drives just from being on the Hi-Tec Drift Series. As we can see, Brendan Bogger, and I think who just got picked up as well was Matt Grice. Both of them boys got picked up from our series and are heading over to Thailand to drive in the Thailand D1 GP, I'm pretty sure that they're driving in, which is good.
Right.
So Zoo Performance giving them both as we can see, a sponsor of the series over here. So Zoo Performance have given them both a car. I'm pretty sure Brendan went over there and finished 3rd in the Pro class and 2nd in the Pro-Am, which is good to see.
Anyway, into the next battle, we have Brendan O'Grady now getting the opportunity to lead Adam Burgess. Adam matching the proximity that we saw from Brendan O'Grady before, but then seemed to just get left behind a little bit on that flat section. Found himself a little bit shallow there, but he is reeling in Brendan O'Grady. Oh, he managed to maintain drift across the line there in the chase position where Brendan O'Grady did straighten previously, but we'll see through the middle, potentially a straighten from Adam Burgess.
Exactly. It looks like he just wound on a little bit too much angle there coming into turn 1, dialing it on, just washing off way too much speed, but again, reeling him in through that second switch. Bogger straight back onto the power. Coming through the smoke there, Burgess right through back up onto the door, which is good to see. Got the mother-in-law there on the live stream go, Adam. She's one of the biggest Ford fans I've ever seen, I'm telling you. They have Fords everywhere in their garage, and she'd be mighty proud of that Barra pushing it up the hill, which is good to see.
Yeah, that BA Falcon is such a cool thing to see out on track. But looking back at that battle, I think just Adam Burgess through the second and third turn, finding himself a bit offline, going shallow through the second turn, which has then sent him wide on the third turn. So that's going to be a hard one there for the judges to call. But one of these drivers will be battling John Oviduras for the first place trophy, while the other goes against Glenn Ormerod for third place. And there we have it. It is Adam Burgess who will at least get a second place finish, but will be battling John Oviduras for the first place trophy, while Brendan O'Grady and Glenn Ormerod battle it out for third.
What an upset to the tree there. I know that he wanted to take the win here, but again, that's Bogger O'Grady now knocked out of contention. 4 points for the first and two to give himself a clear lead against Gracie. So I'd love to see, once we get through there, get the battle tree up and where it's happened to. But again, hats off to Adam Burgess for taking the win on that run. That's a hard one to call between the two mighty ships there. HMAS Albatross taken through there, which is good to see. But yeah, well done to Burgess. All right, so over to our battle tree.
We've got Brendan O'Grady and Glenn Ormerod battling for third, while Adam Burgess and Jonathan Viduras will be battling it out for that first place trophy, the famous Insurance Pro-Am trophy. And, you know, it's round 5. This is a pretty coveted trophy. Everyone looking to stack points on the board. I can't wait to see those battles. But before we do, we'll be heading into the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars Pro Series, where we have our top 8 battles about to go down.
Exactly, and coming up into that series, you know, the boys, there's been some big upsets of the season, and coming into this final top 8 is amazing, especially like what we said, we're seeing a repeat of the battles from Calder Park against Patrick Barley, Brad Toohey, and the likes, which is, these boys are ready to throw down. They know how it is. Those battles happen in the wet. Now they got some speed and some power happening, which is good to see. Sun shining out here for all the fans out on track, which is good. Let's get the hype happening. We're coming back up into the pro class. Let's get rowdy. We can hear, the guys can hear. Plenty of kisses from the Blaze unit team. Absolutely amazing. Love you boys, which is good to see. Shab's up there, up on the hill, which is good. Scoots, big shuckers. Good to see.
I can see the other half of Blaze unit now doing some tyre warming down in front of the South Circuit pits. James Abbott will be facing off against Mitchell Doyle, who, man, has been on fire. Not only this round, but throughout the series. Mitch Doyle has shown some serious form, coming all the way to Sydney to demonstrate, you know, hey, this is what Darwin Drifting's all about, representing the NT.
Well, we've got 2 cars from the NT, you know, the XD Ford team there from the Northern Territory, and then Doyle. I know these guys, they both work in cohesion with each other. I'm pretty sure Mitch Doyle's running the X-Drift computer system in his car, which is good to see. A full programmable map for lights, everything else in your ECU harness, which I'm pretty sure that the boys from the X-Drift did make and now produce. I'm pretty sure there's a few more boys in the field that have said, we want to sign you up for next year.
Fancy. Anyway, we'll see that car of Mitchell Doyle going up against James Abbott in the top 8, while Patrick Barley will be facing off against Brad Toohey, you know, battle of the V8. We have Danny Probert in X-Drift up against Anthony Billick in that big power 300 kilowatt SR, and Michael Bonney and Bo Yates, a repeat of our final from round 4, facing off in the top 8, so that's a huge one. But first, we're going to head down to the pits with J-Mac.
Danny Probert, your very first season as a fully fledged pro, and you've taken out Josh Botcher in your last battle. What are the feelings running through your head right now?
It's pretty incredible. Like, I guess with the mindset in this sort of, when you're out there, you can't, you know, I was thinking I had to make him take the win, so I wasn't going to lay down. So I'm thrilled that I've got through Josh. He's such a fierce competitor, absolute gentleman as well. I nearly stalled it on the line. He actually stopped, and we on my first lead run, and he gave me the opportunity to quit back up. So yeah, huge thanks to Josh for that one.
We're looking forward to your next battle with Anthony Billick, so we'll get to that in just a while. But in the meantime, back to commentary.
Great to hear from Danny Probert there.
But my first lead run, and he
Sorry, just a little bit of technical issues there, but back into the replay there of James Abbott leading Mitchell Doyle. As we can see through the transition, James Abbott right there through, right front of the car over the transition. Mitchell Doyle a little bit slower through that transition, giving a clear gap for the uphill run there to James Abbott. Once we get another replay, which will happen quite soon, which will be good because the judges are asking for one.
Yeah, I'm keen to see that battle again. I was having a listen to Danny Probert there, just having a chat about what's going on.
I was doing the same, yeah, which was good. And it's good to see, we've got J-Mac down there. He's been doing a killer effort all year, running through the pits, giving us the hot goss and the hot topics that's happening down in the pits.
King of the pits. Let's get him a crown, I reckon.
King of the pits. Oh, it doesn't need a bigger head.
Might just need a big crown, eh?
Exactly. No, it's been good. He's been absolutely amazing all year, giving us all the feedback, which we have been looking forward to. And the inside word, especially for the live stream, you guys have been asking questions, and he's been running straight over that driver and giving us the hot topics. But again, look, coming back to that battle, Mitchell Doyle is now going to have to lead James Abbott. James Abbott just set up a killer lead run, leaving plenty of room there, and Mitchell Doyle not taking the advantage.
So let's watch that in the replay now. James Abbott, nice on the entry there, all over that inside clip, while Mitchell Doyle headed a little bit wide into that outside zone there for James Abbott. Again, Mitch Doyle just a touch shallow, but he's managed to use that to reel in James Abbott. And as they come across the finish line here, that gap has opened up again. So I'd say a relatively clear advantage there to James Abbott. But, we've seen some fantastic driving from Mitch Doyle so far. And in the lead, I reckon he's going to be hungry to show us exactly what he can do.
But again, you got James Abbott piloting Nigella. He's no slouch in the chase runs, as we've seen all day. That's what's got him through. Going through the lead run here, Mitchell Doyle, quick entry, nice dive in through there. James Abbott, a little bit of a gap, rip it off his front bar, but didn't look like he dropped a tyre. Straight back through to the outer clipping zone, diving straight back up onto Mitchell Doyle again, straight through the transition, pushing Mitchell Doyle up the hill. Absolutely killer chase run there. Looks like just the front bar there coming off. Not sure that he dropped a tyre.
But both drivers coming through the inside clip here. It looks like James Abbott up on the ripple strip, which has ripped the front bar off, but not quite on the dirt, which has saved him some points as they come back through here. James Abbott, killer proximity, much tighter than Mitch Doyle's chase run there. So I'd say the nod to James Abbott. We will wait for the judges, but here's J-Mac in the pits.
Here with Jonathan Duras. He's gone through the latest round of battles and will find himself up against Adam Burgess in the Falcon coming up next. Sustaining a bit of damage here. Headlight supports, they have been cracked. Looks like he might even be choosing to run without one headlight. The front bar, as the guys in commentary mentioned earlier, has fallen foul of the opposition for the 5th time. This is a crazy number of front bars to go through on this line. So he's just tightening up a few bolts as he gets set to go for his next battle against Burgess. We'll see what the future brings.
It's good to see him still got a big smile on his face, and Angus Kidd there giving a hand there to the Jono crew. I know both guys help each other out, and knowing that they're going to get that car back out there for the top battles of today for the Pro-Am class. But again, 5 front bars in one season. Mate, he's got to be putting in some overtime.
So I've just been having a chat with Dan Keneally. So actually Mitchell Doyle going through there, and now that they've reminded me of some stuff from the driver's briefing, it is a bit clearer of a result than I expected. So on the entry where James Abbott was in the chase, the judges were looking for an outside entry and then an inside clip, but they were very clear in the driver's briefing that the chase car was not to cut that corner. They've also said that Mitch Doyle, in his lead, laid down what they would consider a qualifying line, so there was adequate room for James Abbott to tuck in there without contacting the inside ripple strip and ripping the front bar off. The front bar was just like you'd expect, say, seeing a puff of dirt coming up from a wheel as it drops off the track. It was a big red flag to the judges to say, hey, you have gone too shallow here, and specifically against what the judges have asked there for in their judge line. And it's for that reason that Mitch Doyle has gone through there into the top 4.
Man, that's a big upset for the Hi-Tec Blaze Unit team. But again, these guys are setting the rules and the judge line. Unfortunately, not going in the favour of James Abbott. But again, Mitchell Doyle.
It's a hard pill to swallow there because, otherwise, James Abbott in that chase run was all over Mitch Doyle. Fantastic proximity through the last part of the run. And while Mitch Doyle might have been gapped a little bit at the beginning and the end of his run, he was tight through the middle section. And in the summary of points, maybe there was a slight advantage towards James Abbott in the first run, but in the second run, there was a very clear disadvantage to James Abbott and an advantage to Mitch Doyle. So on summary of points, as much as it was a tight margin, it is Mitch Doyle who goes through to the top 4.
Oh, they're just stringing it hairs here between the two drivers, you can't call it between either one, which is good to see, This is the driver level from coming up into 5 rounds. From round 1 to now, these boys have just gone bar from bar from bar, and this top step, it's just so hard to get. We're just going to go down to J-Mac now and see what he's got to say in the pits.
Jabbit, an unfortunate loss against Mitch Doyle, mate. It's a tough one, but he is on an absolute tear today, isn't he?
Oh, man, coming up, I was amazed at the speed his car had. Up against Angus, we felt like we were way off the pace. We put a lot more grip into the car for that one. I think it caught me unawares. I come up short on the inside clip there. Just didn't have a chance to feel out how that grip would affect the car. But at the end of the day, we've had an awesome time out here driving the Hi-Tec Oils S15. It's been an awesome opportunity this year, and if I said before, if there was nothing else we could achieve with this year, it was to get the car right, and I feel like we've done that. The car is now fast, and I think a few more laps, I think we're ready for round one.
So with your day effectively done here, our attention turns to 2020 for the Hi-Tec Drift Australia Series. What are you looking to take away from that?
Yeah, I mean, that's what this year was about. It's an all-new car for me and for Scott, and, we realised pretty quick we had a big learning curve, but I think we're just ticking the problems off the list, and we're getting there now. So we're turning up at next season, round one, with the intention of winning every round.
So now that you're out, you have the luxury of having a look from the other side of the fence. Who's your favourite? Who do you think's going to go all the way?
Okay, who's in here? I mean, obviously Bo's always there at the end. He's seems a bit off pace today compared to his normal textbook self, but I think it's still going to take a lot to beat him.
Well, thank you so much for your time, mate.
To say, I'd like Mitch to go through after taking me out. So I think it would make me feel a bit better if he gets a top step. Then I got nothing to complain about.
Some parting words from James Abbott as we go back to our commentators here for this championship finale.
Hey, as much as I don't want to show any bias, I also would like to see Mitch Doyle get a strong result, purely because he's such a good bloke and puts so much effort in.
Alrighty, back to the battles now. We've got Brad Toohey in the lead against Patrick Barley. Nice line there by Brad Toohey, setting a good line there for Patrick to chase, setting it nice and deep to the outside zone, all the way through. Big dive there by Patrick, filling that zone right behind Brad Toohey. But again, Brad coming up that hill, straight back onto the power, showing how much speed that V8 twin Pro-Charged 86 can throw at that NA.
What a run. We can see Patrick Barley there, wider than Brad Toohey immediately, and that sets the tone for this battle where on each and every clipping point and judged area, he's just bettering Brad Toohey's line, switching back earlier than Brad Toohey there as well, which is almost like a preemptive emulation, which is very, very difficult to do. So fantastic chase run from Patrick Barley, but to be fair, you can't pull off a chase run like that without a killer lead run, and that's exactly what Brad Toohey did as well. So I'd see a slight advantage towards Patrick Barley, but as we switch him around, we've seen Toohey pull some huge results out on South Circuit in the past, and I'm eager to see how he goes in the chase.
And exactly, Patrick wouldn't get the points that he got there if it wasn't for that lead run set up by Brad Toohey. It all comes down to making sure that he's left enough room for Patrick to do what he needs to do. And again, Brad just maybe leaving the door just a little bit too wide open there for Patrick. Patrick's found his form in the last 3 rounds. He's done well. He knows how he's battled against him in the wet and the dry. They both had 2 reruns again in the last round, and again today he's come up against him and he's not given him any room there. Brad making sure that he's kicked down the judge line, but unfortunately Patrick just diving up, making just all the views go onto him.
Man, really nice chase position there from Patrick Barley. And one of my favourite things in drifting, especially in tandem drifting, is about the emulation. And coming in behind the car behind you and on that transition and switchback, switching at the same time, if not slightly before, and that's what we saw from Patrick Barley, who is leading down. He's left Brad Toohey on the line. That's a huge mistake there from Brad, unable to match that speed, and I doubt he's going to be able to reel Patrick Barley back in. He's doing it though, he is reeling him back in up that hill, but Patrick Barley, clear advantage to add to that slight advantage from the first run, massive.
Patrick, what an entry, left him absolutely for dead, unfortunately. Maybe a mistake there by Brad Toohey on the line, but as we can see, Patrick did not let that get in his head. He's hit every judge line right through that middle clipping point, a little bit shallow there from the inside. Brad Toohey bettering it through that transition there, but again, the speed shown by Patrick up that upper hill, holding the angle right up the hill, not straightening at all, right over the judge finish line. It's good to see.
Very impressive. So we'll see a judge result coming back from that one shortly. And we will have now Anthony Billick in that 380 kilowatt S13 up against Danny Probert in X-Drift, the Barra-powered XD Falcon that makes somewhere around 400 kilowatt, I believe. Some big power in that vehicle. Maybe a bit north of that. No, that's right, 600.
No, down. So I just found out that they've just changed tuners and they've gone through a Canberra-based tuning mob, and he's just cracked 508 kilowatts. And the best part about it is he's only running 15 PSI in that Barra. Absolutely amazing effort by him and his team. It's good to see. This is a battle I've been waiting for, you know. It's good to see Danny Probert step up, but Billick, he is like a shark. He just comes right through and bites at the points. But yeah, so we've just heard from the results and Patrick Barley is through.
That's massive. We'll have two Territorians facing off for the top four. But first into this battle now with Anthony Billick and Danny Probert coming in hard on the chase. Billick, massive power there, only just crossing that yellow line, but then into the outside zone. Danny is with him with beautiful emulation. And as they come past the judges' box, claps all round. That's incredible.
That's a chase run that we've been waiting for, but what a lead run by Billick. Look at the entry here, sending it nice and wide, but straight back onto that inner clipping zone. Maybe a little bit too wide there to that transition, right through to the outer zone, but Probert right there, switching back exactly the perfect emulation behind Billick, right up onto into the smoke and transitioning nice and early there, emulating exactly what Billick was going to do over the finish line. But again, there's his spotter there, Matt Kavanagh, thumbs up. He'll be relaying to him what's he got to do for his lead run, which is good to see. But again, absolutely killer lead run there by Billick, but looks like he just got showed up there, a little bit of advantage heading over to Danny Probert. Has he found his form in the latter stages of this round? Like, he's been battling demons all year. He's just changed an alternator, and well done to him, changed it, back out there on track and absolutely doing a killer chase run there behind Anthony Billick.
Well, Danny's definitely been getting enough seat time, and it's good to see that he's putting those lessons to use, battling incredibly here in the top 8. You know, getting himself a relatively a slight advantage there over Billick, I reckon.
It'd be a hard one to call, you know, because Billick, he'd done a good line. The only thing that I'd say was coming in that first outer zone, from the inner to the outer zone. Looks like he just went a little bit too wide there through the switch.
Yeah, after turn 1, it might have been, you know, like a quarter of a tyre over that yellow line, but it did kind of stuff up his line for the rest of the run. Still very quick and very tidy, though, from Anthony Billick, who'll now be chasing Danny Probert in the lead. He comes through that outside zone there beautifully, nice onto the inside clip, and Billick is there behind Danny Probert, going a touch late on the transition there, but beautiful emulation up the hill on the inside clip where Danny Probert's gone wide and potentially thrown away his advantage in the last section of the judge there. You can see the frustration from the judges.
100%, you know, we'll go through the replay here. Beautiful entry there. Billick just earlier entry, making sure he's given plenty of room there to dive straight up on the inside of that XD Drift Series car. Again, a little bit too wide, and then that's where it's all gone wrong for Probert. Just pushing that flick way too wide, putting a little bit too much angle, which has carried him right to the wrong zone where the judges aren't looking for. But well done to Billick. He stayed right on that inside line. Again, then transitioning back through, coming back up onto the door. That's a hard one to call. Who takes the advantage out of that one? Definitely, I think, Billick, but unfortunately, does his lead run come through, which is there.
There we have it. It's unanimous for the judges. Anthony Billick going through and securing himself position in the top 4. He's got to be stoked with that after having a season of bad luck here and there and missing a couple of rounds as well. It's good to see him back up and into the top 4. Good on you, Anthony Billick, but also a fantastic drive from Danny Probert and the entire team at X-Drift.
100%, but yeah, well done and hats off to Billick. He's really had some battles on this track, and it just shows he knew exactly what that car was going to do. Left enough room for himself to really dive up if there was a mistake to be made, and he got in there nice and deep and stayed on that inside line, and the judges up here just really giving him the points to take the win there, which is good to see. But yeah, well done to Billick. Killer effort from his 380 kilowatt SR.
Now this is a battle I'm very excited to see. The next one coming up, Michael Bonney against Bo Yates. This is a repeat of the final that we saw last time. We've also seen Bo Yates a little bit off form to what we normally see characteristically. So could this be the final 2 rounds of Bonney? Bo won't give it up easily though. He's dived right in there, heading wide into that outside clipping zone. Nice emulation but the speed of Michael Bonney's S15 is incredible and very difficult to match.
Mate, the judges are absolutely hyped up here. As we can see from the replay, Michael Bonney through that transition. Big dive there from Bo Yates, but again, Bonney staying straight back on the power through that transition, and then again here we can just see Bonney winding on the power, still on the angle, and gone. He has left Bo Yates right behind in that Toyota Genuine 86.
As the smoke blows over the judges' stand, they're here in disbelief. James Martle just tapping my shoulder and saying, hey, have a look at that slingshot of Michael Bonney's S15 at the final part of that stage. That car has more mechanical grip than I think anything else I've seen in competitive drifting, making stupid power. I think around the mid 400, if not 500 kilowatt mark.
Yeah, I'm not too sure on that, but I know
Michael Bonney's car, but big power JZ, big turbo with nitrous to bring it on. It is a serious machine, and Michael Bonney, previously we've seen him in other rounds in the series. He just, he'd have all the bits there for him and just wouldn't put it together in the final stages. Whereas this time, both round 5 and our previous round 4, Michael Bonney has been on form, winning round 4 and now showing an advantage in his lead run against Bo Yates.
Exactly, and it's good to see that, and just the skills that he's come out of these last rounds. He's had some bad luck in the last series and everything like that, and this year Bonney, he's done well. His team is really set up and it's done well. So Bo Yates in the lead here. Massive entry there by Bo. Michael a little bit too shallow there, but coming through. Straight dive through. Looks like he's dropped a tyre. Unfortunately there for Bonney, just trying way too hard in the face. Bo Yates grabbing a gear and making it disappear. Absolutely stellar effort there.
Massive result here. Bo Yates coming in strong on the entry. Michael Bonney with him. Little bit shallow. Running wide here. Getting back on the power after that wheel drop. Just transitioning way too late. And even with the incredible grip of that S15, there was no way to bring that rocket ship back. And it has gone off the course. So without that mistake from Michael Bonney, we may have seen a different result. But I would say we get Bo Yates heading through. Before we get that result confirmed, though, we've got J-Mac in the pits with Anthony Billick.
Anthony Billick on a high after taking out Danny Probert. Probert has been on an absolute tear today. What was it about your run that you think gave you the edge?
I think because I had car issues at time attack, and it was a bit of redemption, a bit of revenge, I couldn't drive to my full potential, and now the car's working well thanks to the crew. Yeah, it's amazing. It's been a while since I've been in top 4, so just G.
Probert dropped a little bit of information. Usually at this track, the way it goes is whoever knocks him out takes the event. How do you fancy your chances?
I agree. Yep. It would be great to get the top step for sure.
Fingers crossed, mate. Best of luck.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
That's confidence there by Billick, and it is a bit of a curse there, of the Probert curse, maybe we can call it.
How good's that sight to see on the live stream, though? An SR20 under the bonnet of an S13, and Bo Yates getting the win there. I mean, condolences out to Michael Bonney, who, that's a really, really difficult loss to take, especially with that advantage. But, Bo Yates, very fortunate to get through there. So it will be Bo Yates against Billick. We have seen that battle in the past, and it's one that, is sure to be hot against Mitchell Doyle and Patrick Barley, the battle of the Territorians in the top 4.
Okay, so we've just been told. So Mitchell Doyle, Patrick Barley, both from Northern Territory, and Anthony Billick and Bo Yates, both from New South Wales. So we've got battle of the territory here.
It's like a state of origin, except without all the boring ball sports.
Exactly, 100%. But I'm pretty sure these guys got some balls with some of the moves that they've been pulling up this hill.
I definitely feel for Michael Bonney, though. He's been such a great driver through round 4. Very fast car throughout this series. And that's part of drifting is, the eagerness can get in your head and you go, look, I'm up against this quick car. I've got to do everything I can. But there is a hard and fast limit to how much speed you can carry into these corners and how late you can transition. And unfortunately, Michael Bonney found that out the hard way.
Exactly, and unfortunately for him, he's always been bitten at the bitey end of the point series and in the top 8 every time. He's always had that curse, which seems to happen to a lot of drivers, but hats off to him and his crew. He's really found the gremlins in that car and knows where he needs to be.
But hey, we do have a trophy at home for Michael Bonney from this series, and I'm sure in the 2020 series he will be a competitor to watch.
So just a quick thing here for the Northern Territory folks. This will be in contention one of the best finishes that any Northern Territory person has finished in the Hi-Tec Drift Series. So we've got 2 in contention. We're knowing that one of the Patrick Barley or Mitchell Dahl is going to go battle for first or second place, and that means that we've only had Patrick Barley take third place, and Mitchell Dahl taken third place as well. So
other part of that as well is, we could end up with 2 Northern Territorians on the podium, because the other one's still going to be in the running for third place.
It could be a takeover.
Oh, beauty. Get the Crocs out, mate. We are ready to party.
Oh, another shrimp on the barbie, you reckon?
See you in the MT.
Oh, a bit of controversy here.
I don't know if we're allowed to get away with that unofficial marketing campaign, but I'm sure a lot of you guys know exactly what we're talking about there.
It's good to see. Martelly's from South Australia, so he's a bit behind the scenes, which is good to see.
I'll tell you what, this national series truly is becoming national and international as we have drivers come down here to battle it out against the best drifters in the country. Some of the biggest builds, craziest cars, huge power and grip. So it's incredible to see these drivers get the chance to stretch their legs on some fantastic tracks, including Sydney Motorsport Park South Circuit. We'd be lucky to see 3, maybe 4 drift events here a year and only 1 practice event over New Year's. So hopefully, I'm putting the call out there now, ARDC, we'd love to come back here and drive as many times as we can, and I'd love to see drifting find a home in Sydney on Sydney Motorsport Park South Circuit and North Circuit alike. I'd love to have a crack at turn 1 on the main track, and I'm sure a lot of people would, but otherwise, it's just fantastic to get any facilities we can here and step up from that wet pen and figure 8. But into our battle for third now in the Pro-Am Series, we have Glenn Ormrod leading Brendan O'Grady, who had a bit of a bobble there on the entry. They're coming through this middle section now. Glenn Ormrod beautifully out that outside zone, but Brendan O'Grady, lots of speed and angle there, just unable to reel in that fast little K70 Corolla of Glenn Ormrod.
Exactly, as we can see, nice entry there from Glenn, absolutely gripped up there from the start, straight onto the throttle of that carby-driven rotary. Nice outside clipping zone there by him, and again, just through this transition, a little bit too wide, and Bogger just really showing where the clipping line was, but unfortunately just a little bit too shallow coming off there, giving a little bit too much gap there for Glenn to pull up. But just a quick one here for our top 4 in the Pro-Am. This is the first time we've come into the final top 4, and all engine packages are different.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, right? So there we've got our battle for first. We've got John Overdouris with the R32 there with the naturally aspirated V8 under the bonnet. We've got Adam Burgess with the XR6 Turbo. Go you mighty Barra. We've also got Brendan O'Grady with the JZX100 Mark II that has a 1JZ under the bonnet. That's pretty much Japan's version of a Commodore and one of my personal favourite cars of all time. And then Glenn Ormrod in the K70 Corolla we see there with a carburetted 13B straight out of the 80s. I love it.
And that thing is clean since the day it's been built. We've seen that car over the few years. Bo Yates got behind the wheel of it in the Figure 8 series and absolutely turned that track upside down in that car. We know it's got potential, but it's good to see, these Pro-Am guys, they're in the cars and they're really stepping up their game. You'll see most of these cars step up into the Pro Series. They will just probably slap on a big turbo, or John Overdouris will just put a bigger carb on his thing and just go for gold, I think, which is good to see. It's
cool to see as well that, in each battle we've got one factory engine versus one engine swapped car. So Adam Burgess with the XR6 Turbo Falcon, John Overdouris with the V8 Skyline. Brendan O'Grady, 1J, JZX100, Glenn Ormrod, Rotary Corolla. So they're really battling for a whole bunch of different things with very different packages, but into the battle now.
Alrighty, so Brendan with a nice leader, and then Glenn absolutely right on the rear bar there of Brendan O'Grady through the transition again, diving straight back up onto the door. Little quick hello there from Glenn up onto Brendan. Brendan, nice lead run, absolutely killing the judge line. Killing it. Hand out the window there from Glenn, giving him the hurry up the hill. But it's good to see, Brendan absolutely killer lead run there, hitting every clipping point.
The judges losing it at how tight Glenn Ormrod chased right from the first corner. You can see him pulling that almost pro move there of ducking out to allow the car to transition in front of him and then tucking straight back into that pocket behind Brendan O'Grady. Fantastic run from a car there that'd be lucky to crack the 150 kilowatt mark in that little carburetted 13B, but that's all you need in a light Corolla. It's gripped up in the back and, a driving style that I absolutely love and can't wait to get back into myself, to be honest.
it's been good, and it's good to see Glenn, you know, when he first started the series, he wasn't throwing as much angle as what he is now, and it's good to see he's finally got the confidence in the car, throwing just that ever so much more angle, which is coming into the part of the Pro-Am series. You know, it's good to see. I know he had a few drives of different other cars, and I think his confidence has taken up that next step, which is good to see. So we'll just go down to J-Mac in the pits and see what he's got to say.
Craig Stokes, someone you might not necessarily be familiar with, but you will be very familiar with his brand. Manager for Good Ride, and Good Ride have been such an incredible partner for the Hi-Tec Drift Australia series, and we are so happy to welcome you back for another season. Craig, how important has the Hi-Tec series been to your business?
Oh, it's been making our business grow well with the drifting community out there, and we're just trying to get our brand out in Australia a lot more.
We've found that the performance from the tyres has definitely helped the Blaze unit guys go to some incredible results, and they've really worked well with our tracks here in Australia. Of course, drifting and motorsport tyres, it's not your only arrow in the quiver, is it?
No, it's not. We do a lot of other stuff, but we're trying to get down more of the motorsport way.
And how have you found the uptake with the Australian crowds?
Yeah, they're loving it. We're getting more inquiries about the Good Ride Sports RS tyre, so we're looking to go bigger next year.
I know I personally have a four-wheel drive at home. I'm definitely looking forward to looking up my local Good Ride dealer and getting a set onto them. Thank you so much for your continued support of the series. We look forward to next season.
Yeah, beautiful. Can't wait to be in it. Thank you.
That's good to see, you know, an ambassador of the sport and get someone to come over here and support the series as Good Ride does. You know, it's good for the sport. They all burn through some of those good rides, and I think 50% of the field's on those tyres, and it's good to see that they're really talking to the drivers and really making sure that they're putting in production those tyres.
A lot of us wouldn't be here without the support of our sponsors, so thank you also to Kit and Ultra, Famous Insurance and the rest. But into the battles now with Adam Burgess leading John Ovidoris. This is our battle for first place in the Famous Insurance Pro-Am Series. John Ovidoris slightly bettering Adam Burgess's line while still maintaining proximity. What a killer lead run from Adam Burgess, but also a stellar chase from John Ovidoris, who I think might have got the slight advantage there.
I think so. Just going through the replay here of the Pro-Am Famous Insurance, we got Adam Burgess setting a nice line right out there, but again, look at Jono getting that rear bar right over that judge line. Again, front wheels touching that inner clip right through the transition. Again, big dive over the finish line, finishing right on the door there of Adam Burgess. Killer lead run there by Adam Burgess too, but looks like he's just wound on a little bit too much angle there through that second transition zone, which has allowed Jono to dive straight up on that inside up the hill.
Man, that was exceptional, and everything that I would expect for a battle for first place in Pro or Pro-Am. So fantastic driving from the Famous Insurance Pro-Am drivers. Nearly Adam Vodoris. Adam Burgess and John Ovidoris have both put in exceptional efforts. Oh, look at this, some bit of GTR love down in the pits. Got a late model, what some people like to call a 35 GTR from Queen Street Customs.
How does he change the tyres with the car that low?
Come on, mate. You've got an airbag V-Rod here. You know exactly what's going on. That thing on bags, big Rocket Bunny, wide body on that thing. Wild car. I'd like to see it do a bit of an entry. Also, with a 34 GTR, King GTR. I think I know this car. That thing makes some serious power. Don't let the relatively mild exterior fool you. That is a serious machine.
Absolutely killer car. Big sequential in that car. I've seen it plenty of times down through Cooter and everything like that, and big hat off to that, seeing it here at the track.
Here we go. Drivers barely separated off the line. John Ovidoris tipping it in hard. Adam Burgess right behind him there. Exceptional entry from Jono. But remember that the judges aren't looking too heavily at that section, and it's all about what happens here. Jono bettering the line of Adam, who is chasing him. That's another advantage there, I would say, for John Ovidoris, but Adam battling valiantly in the chase position.
Nice entry there, but again, look, a little bit too shallow off the entry there for Adam Burgess. It's good to see him dive straight back up on the inside, straight back onto the power. Jono killing it through that switch zone, again, lifting that inside tyre through that clip, dialing it in, back on the power over the transition, up the hill, and well done to him, Jono. Look, the curse has been lifted on Jono. He's always had a bit of a battle there for his final battle place, and looking like he's got a clear advantage there. But hats off to Adam Burgess. That was a killer chase run, done well. You know, a little bit too much angle in some of the sections, but it's good to see both of those guys. That's still your Pro-Am class, and both of those boys hitting the judge line in two different sections, which is great to see.
And hey, speaking about Jono's curse, you know, that front bar copped a bit of a hard time. But earlier in the pits as well, I saw Angus Kidd inside the car with a welding helmet on, stick welding the shifter back together that had already partially snapped. So they went wild with that. But we do have on the screen now, this is how our pro battles are going to line up. We'll have Mitchell Doyle and Patrick Barley, the battle of the Territorians, and Anthony Billick up against Bo Yates on the other side there to work out who will be going through to the battle for first. We will be announcing our Famous Insurance Pro-Am results on the other side of Pro. We'll be having our podium together, so let's get straight into our pro battles where you can see Mitch Doyle warming up his tyres now.
All the way from NT just to dial in some tyres. We want to see, look, I know he's not scared of a big burnout comp, and look, victory skids is where it's at. And I can't wait to see some victory skids. Patrick Barley, unfortunately, last time he did victory skids, I remember his dad pulling out his hair saying, look, no limiter. Patrick standing it and doing a little bit of valve train damage, but look, this is the final round. Patrick, if you're now in contention anyway, so we know, let's make sure that you do one of your best victory skids at the end of this day.
Hey, plenty of time to rebuild it before round one, so send the rods down the side and off we go, eh? Ready to see some of that?
It's good to see, you know, that all the boys, I know me and you were big ambassadors for the victory skids and a big Aussie tip in, so it'll be good to see.
And I might not have the hair to show it, but I am a massive bogan at heart, so I do love to see a bit of skids here and there.
A few of the fans out here, which is good to see.
Here we have the Battle of Territorians up on the line now. This is our top four battle in Pro. Mitchell Doyle leading Patrick Barley. Looks like Mitchell Doyle struggling for a bit of traction off the line there. Patrick Barley going nice and wide on the entry in the chase. Beautiful lead run from Mitchell Doyle as well, but Barley tucking right in there on him. How's the proximity there from Patrick Barley? All over the back of that S13 and Mitchell Doyle. What a run.
How's your battle from Northern Territory? These boys, they're big ambassadors for the Northern Territory Drift Series, and it's good to see them down here. Nice entry there by Mitchell Doyle. A little bit too wide there, giving the room for Patrick to dive up right on the inside there. Straight onto the door there. You can see quick emulation there from Patrick Barley. Back onto the door there of Mitchell Doyle. Big power up the hill, but again, you can just see through that emulation there in the chase of Patrick Barley, not scared to really push up hard and really dive in. To emulate someone like Mitchell Doyle, as we've seen all day, that's no feat in itself, and he's done really well to really push the power down and get it right up onto the door.
Yeah, and I heard exclamation for the judges that I agree with, that was practically a perfect lead run from Mitch Doyle there, who, as he switched back on the end here, leaving plenty of room for Patrick Barley to tip in, but then also coming into that inside clip right across the finish line there. And just a really, really nice lead run from Mitch Doyle, but Patrick Barley all over the rear quarter as well. So this is going to go down to the next battle in this set as they switch around, and Patrick Barley leads Mitch Doyle.
Oh, the mighty SR. You're a big fan of Billick's car. I know it's probably one of the noisiest ones that we see on the track, which is good to see.
Look at that. This could be a scene from old D1SL, a kitted up S13. It's got the SR20 under the bonnet, big high mount turbo. This is what got me into drifting, is seeing all these really highly strung Japanese cars until I got some of my own and realised how broken they get, how regularly, and how much you have to spin spanners on them. So, I can totally empathise where some of these guys are coming from as well, dropping V8 power under the bonnet and never having to lift it again. But I still love to see a little SR20 battling it out in the field.
Alrighty, Patrick Barley in the lead here against Mitchell Doyle. Nice entry there by Patrick, setting it nice onto that clipping zone, leaving massive gap there. Doyle's got to really wind him in here through there. Slow on the emulation there, but again, back up onto it. Both V8s powering up the hill. Killer lead run there by Patrick Barley, really showing the all clipping zones that he had it in sight. Just a little bit shallow through there, going through the good ride.
We saw hints of that earlier in Patrick's chase run as well, where he just managed to get right out to those clipping zones in a way that, Mitch was all over them, but just not quite as well as Patrick Barley was. So as they switched around, wide on that entry there, right out to the outside, then into the inside clipping zone, and just generally following the judge line. That is going to be such a difficult one to separate, but I think it's going to come down to, the proximity of the chase runs. And just from this layman's perspective, Patrick Barley seemed a fair bit tighter on his chase.
Exactly, and look, It's hard to see, so let's get some likes up there for your Northern Territory folk. We've got likes for Patrick Barley and hearts for Mitchell Doyle. Who do you think's going to get it?
And unanimously from the judges, they want to see it again. Let's go one more time for the Battle of the Territorians. Turn them around.
Get hyped. This is your top 4 coming up, and they're still battling one more time to get into the top step. This is crazy. I can't believe I'm gobsmacked. This is another one more time between 2 guys from Northern Territory, both LS powered, my favourite engine in the world, and one of them is NA.
Yeah.
Oh, one Chevy powered. Sorry, I've just been from the Chaviro master up here, Dan Keneally. So it's a 360 Carby engine.
Yeah, out of a sprint car.
It's an LS. It's based on an LS. Don't worry about it.
All that V8 junk's the same to me, mate, so it's all good.
but NA pride. NA pride.
Yeah, no, I'm all about it. I'm just messing around. There's plenty of great drivers out there, and how they choose to build their car is up to them. Here's the last battle here where Patrick Barley was all over that track edge there, nice and fast through the middle, leaving Mitch Doyle behind a little bit, who then, as they got on the power, managed to reel him back in. So Mitch Doyle tightening it up through that last bit there, where, to be fair, Patrick Barley was a fair bit off that inside clip there, but then tightening it back up through the end of the run. So I don't know, Patrick Barley was tighter in the chase position, but Mitch Doyle's lead run was also better on the judge line. So I can see why this went one more time now that I look at that replay again, and I'm excited to see them turn it around.
I just like one more times. It's fantastic.
It puts a lot of pressure on, and it's a really unique thing about drifting is that we can bring these drivers together again and again and always get a different result. Because, you can be the most consistent driver in the world and have a bad entry, or, the car reacts in a way that you don't expect, or you have a mechanical failure, or, hell, you just have an off day, the sun gets in your eyes, you sneeze, you just drive pretty disappointingly to yourself, Anything can happen, but it's always exciting.
Exactly like what you said, you can have a mechanical failure. These cars are built for 2 battles and then go change your tyres and have a rest and everything like that. But 9 times out of 10, these guys are in for 2 minutes, a quick check over the car and straight back out there. These cars aren't cooling down. And coming after one more time, that's a big stress on your car. When I was competing, I had a big failure as well. In a one more time battle, we went 3 times in a row, and then all of a sudden my diff just let go, So that can happen to anyone out here, and it's a big effort to you and your team to battle one more time. And the strains on your body and yourself, you got to be in the right mental game again, because now, like, this is it, make or break it yet again.
So here we have it, what is sure to be another interesting battle. 2 very different cars this time around. Anthony Billick in the 380 kilowatt SR20 powered S13, and then the Toyota Genuine Parts 86 of Bo Yates with the somewhere in the vicinity of 500 kilowatt JZ motor under the bonnet. Both these cars are very serious, and both drivers hungry for a win. Let's see what happens. Billick, nice entry there. Bo right there with him, just leaving a little bit of a gap. Billick dropping a wheel off the outside there, and then again on the transition, so that's 1 and 1. That's going to hurt him in his lead position, while Bo, seeing that mistake, has dialed the proximity back and just let Billick go out in front.
It's good to see Billick there. Nice lead run there, but Bo Yates just showing his form, that he's watching exactly what the lead car's doing, knowing that he's dropped a tyre here coming through. I'm not just going through the replay, not sure if he actually dropped a tyre there right out to the outer zone, but it's good to see he's right on the line there coming through. But Bo Yates absolutely killing in that chase. It's good to see.
So judges have just confirmed there as well that while Billick's wheel going onto the dirt through the second corner is counted as a wheel drop, they are allowed to go over the yellow line in the midsection, the flat section there. So, it will be looked down on. It will be a deduction, but it doesn't add up to 2 wheel drops and an automatic 0 is what we're getting at. So he will be deducted for running that line too wide, but it is accepted, and it's not counted as a wheel drop there, a wheel drop somewhere else.
So that is... Okay, so 2 1 wheels is not a 0. You could have 4 1 wheels off the track and not conduct to a 0, but if you do drop 2 wheels at once, that is counted as a 0. So you can drop 1 wheel on every corner of the track and not get a 0.
You'll just get a hard time from us in the commentary booth for driving poorly.
100%. If you, you're not gonna score points just dropping wheels left, right, and centre. But let's just face it. So that is verified now from the rule book from the head judge of Dan Mackey. So you can drop a wheel on every turn, but as the moment that you drop 2 wheels off the track, you are definitely getting a 0 and putting it on the trailer and going home.
Here we go now. Bo Yates getting the lead. Anthony Billick, who's going to have to make a miracle here to overcome his deductions in the previous round that we were just talking about as they come together now. Billick maintaining fantastic proximity behind the Toyota Genuine Parts 8.6 in that AAA Tyre Factory S13. Let's head to the replay now.
Going through the replay here, Bo Yates setting a nice entry there, giving plenty of room and proximity for them to jump through. Again, filling that outer clipping zone. Billick a little bit shallow, and you can see the big dive bomb coming through him straight through there because of how shallow he's come. Straight up back to that top clipping zone. Again, all the way through on the power, right up over the finish judge line, which is good to see. Billick just got left in the smoke there. Unfortunately, maybe a little bit too much pressure in his head in the chase against Bo Yates. But look, it's good to see that he stayed on line. A little bit too many aggressive dive moves, but unfortunately, I think that's what stung him in the end.
And that is the hard thing, especially when you have a judge line that involves an outside clip. That's what the judges need to be watching like a hawk, is if the lead car's going wide to maintain the clip, is the chase car cutting that corner to then regain proximity?
Can someone get this man a pillow, please?
Hey, that looks like a pretty comfortable position. I'd rock it.
Looks pretty comfy. Nice. Getting some rays. Oh, he's still awake, which is good. I don't know how he could fall asleep with some of the limiter bangs that are coming through right in front of him there.
We might just sidle you up behind Moo the AK-47, get him to pop a couple of shots.
Oh, 100%. We need that guy for some big tip-ins. But yeah, just going through that then, we've got you guys on the live stream calling it a one more time again between Billick and Bo Yates.
Ags wants to see it.
Aggie wants to see it, exactly. But look, I think it's going to go Bo Yates' way purely for the one wheel drop there and the chase run given by Billick.
It's a hard one. Judges going back and forth now, trying to work out which way they want to go. It will be a summary of points, and it's all the more critical being in the top 4. So this will decide which driver goes through to the first place battle and which one goes through to the battle for third, while Mitch Doyle and Patrick Barley will be turned around for one more time.
Exactly, you know, and that's what we want to see. You know, this is your pointy end of the battles, and it's coming down to this nitty-gritty. The judges are still deliberating over that battle.
You can see in the background of Bo's pit there, Mitch Doyle doing some tyre warming in that supercharged V8 S13, who'll be facing up against Patrick Barley. Here's the judges' requested replay now.
Okay, so we're just looking for the wheel drop here. Billick in the lead. That's not an issue there from Billick, as the judges said. This is the one that they're looking for. And it looks like he has touched the cone and gone off track there, but didn't see much dirt come up. Where is there a line? The line is the judge line, so you can't get outside the yellow line.
And it's hard to see without looking at the car from behind there whether it was a single wheel or 2 wheels off. But that's why the judges just want to see this again, because it is critical. A single wheel off is a deduction. 2 wheels off is a 0. So we'll see heads wide here. There's definitely 1 wheel off there, and potentially the bar clipped the cone, but it looks like the cone's still standing up from where I'm looking. So if he were to have touched it, it's hard. They're still going back and forth here with results, and we may see that announced in a sec. But first, we have Mitch Doyle and Patrick Barley with the OMT.
Yeah, this is your OMT. Just get that up. You know, one more time, yet again, the 2 boys from Northern Territory on a one more time to take a position to battle for first and second place.
And it's almost bittersweet to see the 2 Territorians come together in the top 4 when, you know, it means that one won't have a chance to get in that second place position. There we have it. Bo Yates unanimously getting that chance to battle for first place, while Billick will be in the runner-up battle for third. He'll be facing off against whoever loses this battle between Mitch Doyle and Patrick Barley, while the winner will battle Bo Yates for the top step.
Oh, this is going to be great. I can't believe V8 versus 2J. We got Mitchell Doyle in the lead here against Patrick Barley for your one more time. Battle of the Northern Territory, fellas. Again, Mitchell Doyle, nice clean entry there. Getting plenty of room there for Patrick Barley to drive. A little bit shallower line there from Patrick, not so aggressive in his earlier runs. A little bit of a straight coming through there behind Mitchell Doyle and getting lost in the smoke over the hill. That's not what you want to see from Patrick in your one more time.
We'll head to the replay now and see Mitch Doyle out in front. Quite a nice rerun here. And Patrick Barley in the chase position, just going that little bit shallow there on the transition. There is a touch of a straighten there before a reinitiation on the exit. And then here just, didn't seem to tuck in too well there.
Unfortunately for him, you know, that was a hard chase by Patrick. Looks like he didn't set himself up, but we're just going to throw it down to J-Mac, who's with Bo Yates.
Bo Yates Congratulations, you are going through to the next round, mate. We had you held in suspense for a while there, didn't we?
Yeah, they leave you hanging. Yeah, it's a difficult battle with Anthony. He really pushed wide off the first turn. So as a chase car, not really knowing where the lead's going or where he's going to end up, it's hard to kind of suck up in the pocket. But I'm glad the judges saw the same thing I saw from where I was sitting. And God, look, it's a good little car, and we're going to fight for another win this weekend. So.
Bit of a state of origin matchup, New South Wales versus the NT. Surely the New South Welshmen have got it, you reckon?
Well, so it's Patrick through, is it?
I'll wait for confirmation on that one. I think we're still waiting on a result.
Okay. Oh, but they're both from the top end, that's right. So, yeah, New South Wales versus NT. I mean, Patrick's a good young talent that's just come into the sport. So hats off to him. He's been battling hard. And Mitch Doyle's, he's probably due for a win. He's been going pretty hard all year and doing a lot of travelling. So, look, they're both immense drivers, and we'll just see what happens.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks, mate.
I love how seriously Bo always takes this competition. You know, he was totally across the ladder, just going, wait, does that mean Patrick's through? Or like, he knew exactly where we were in the battles and what needed to happen. But speaking of battles, we have Patrick Barley now leading Mitch Doyle.
All right, Patrick's got to really redeem himself here. Nice entry there, sending it nice and deep into that clipping zone, front bar right over it. Keeping to that outer zone again. Quick emulation switch back, but Doyle's right back up onto the door of the inside. Not giving an inch, popping through the smoke there over the finish line. Patrick Barley, what a lead run by him, clipping every single point. Textbook run by him.
Really, really nice lead run there from Patrick Barley out to this outside zone where Mitch Doyle just seemed to have, lost a little bit there in the chase position. He does reel him in through the middle, but potentially as a result of cutting that turn too. So really, we've almost seen a switching of advantages that may balance out between these two drivers. It's difficult because we've already had a one more time. We'll probably need to see a result out of this one, but it's going to be a hard one to call.
I can call another result of another one more time.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we got a couple of hours left. We could probably give it a go.
We've got lights. We're fine. We can just put some power up to the back of Jono's headlight that he's taken off his car, and we'll just power it up here on the top of the hill, which will be good to see. But again, look, it comes down to the pressure of these drivers. They're in the one more time format again, and you've got to get out of your own head. You've just got to really drive to each battle in itself. Unfortunately, it looks like Patrick Barley there did do a killer lead run, but looks like the advantage might be going to Mitchell Doyle just for the fact of, as we've seen through the replay here, which we'll go through again, we got Patrick in the lead. Mitchell Doyle looks like he's getting his front end right over that clipping zone. A little bit shallow through the transition, but again, pushing it right up onto the outside.
And there again, we get it. 2 out of 3 judges going with Mitchell Doyle, with Dan Mackey disagreeing, saying it was Patrick Barley, but 2 out of 3 is enough to make a decision, and that is why we have a panel of 3. So Mitch Doyle will be battling Bo Yates in our final, while Patrick Barley and Anthony Billick go head-to-head for that third-place trophy.
And that's the second round again, back-to-back for Patrick Barley, battling for third place in this round. But again, this is the highest ever that Mitchell Doyle has made it through the ladder. So this is the first time Mitchell Doyle has ever battled for first place in this series, and it's good to see. We've got Bo Yates versus Mitchell Doyle for first place.
So here we have it on screen, confirmed for us now that Patrick Barley and Anthony Billick will be battling for third place, while Mitch Doyle and Bo Yates will be going head-to-head for that first place trophy. You know, Bo Yates has secured himself the championship, but he's still going to want to take home as many first-place trophies as he can. But Mitchell Doyle in the pits from the very first time I saw him this morning, he's gone, look, I'd like to get a win today. He's really got his head in the game. He knows exactly where he's going, and he's been driving so well throughout. So I'm keen to see this battle of the Titans.
100%, Mitchell, he's put in a stellar effort, him and his crew all year. I know that they travel some Ks, and, after the rounds, he's usually the first one straight back out there and ready to go for the next round, which is good to see. But again, here he is for the first time ever this series. He's battling for first place, and that's sensational. It's good to see for him, and I'm pretty sure his crew will be right behind him and absolutely stoked.
And, to make that drive down from the Northern Territory, I'm sure one of the names that encouraged that trek and the scalps he was looking to take was Bo Yates. So what better way to round out a 2019 season than for one of our longest travelling competitors in Mitchell Doyle to get his dream to battle it out for Bo Yates in the final.
As much as I love Bo Yates, it'd be cool to see the underdog finally take a win against him. But look.
Well, hey, we saw that last round with Michael Bonney, who's finally managed to put a round together and get his way onto the top step. So we're going to head down to the pits now to see how Mitch Doyle's taking all of this in.
Doyle, the Nightcliff Electrical S13 has been on song all day long, but its toughest test is yet to come with Bo Yates in this final battle. What are the nerves doing?
Pretty nervous. That's actually the first time I've ever beaten Patrick, including in Darwin, so I'm pretty pumped. The thing's on song, the Dewars engine's just singing, so it got a bit hot that one, but I'll give Bo a good crack. I've been doing well today, so we'll see how we go.
You've really been adhering to the judges' line quite well in comparison to the rest of the crew running here today. Bo Yates has been variable. Do you think you have enough to get over the line ahead of him?
I was doing a good, clean lead. My chase has been unreal, probably the best thing I've been doing all day, so I'll give him a good chase.
Feeling confident. Glad to see it.
Thanks, mate.
He's hungry for it. The fire is lit in his belly. And what an interesting revelation to hear that that's the first time Mitch Doyle has managed to get a win over Patrick Doyle, whether in his home state or down here in Sydney or anywhere else that they've travelled together. So it's great to see that this talent travelling around the country and putting on a show for the fans. And I've got a lot of faith in Mitch Doyle's driving ability, but at the same time, I in no way wish to take any respect away from Bo Yates, who's been one of the top competitors in the country consistently for over a decade. He's a hard driver to battle against, but also a fantastic bloke who's very fair in the way he approaches his sport. So I know he's just going to be stoked that he's got a battle in front of him against a quality driver, and that the biggest priority for Bo is to go up against quality drivers and push his own driving.
And we know Bo Yates, the man himself, he's not going to go down without fighting, and he's going to be swinging till he can take the win. So we know that Mitchell Doyle, and he's going to have to step up with his crew and make sure that his car's A1. And like what he said, he goes, I've been doing killer lead runs and my chase has been on fire. So let's hope he brings his A game, because this is your battle. That's going to be your battle for first place, and I'm telling you, I'm pumped for it. It's going to be so good.
I'm so excited to see these two drivers come together. I'm sure that we'll see our battle between Barley and Billick first, though, to see who gets that third place trophy. Let's head to the pits with J-Mac.
Pat Barley, I was talking to Ant Billick about the upcoming battle for third and fourth. I told him that he was up against you, and he said, gee, that guy is fast. Do you think you can use that uphill speed to your advantage in this run up against that mental SR machine?
Yeah, I think it certainly might be a factor, having a little bit more horsepower and probably a similar sized tyre. Yeah, I really hope we can use it to the best of our advantage.
You guys have been putting on such a great show, and I say you guys, I'm talking about the trio of Territorians, Probert, Doyle and yourself. How is this here in Sydney comparing to any drift experience you've had around the country?
Probably the closest I've come to this is the Invitational up home, where Danny, Mitch Doyle and myself have all finished in the top 3 or 4 of this competition. And for us 3 to really make it to the top here at Pro Hi-Tec, it's a whole nother level, but it's absolutely awesome.
The AB Racing S13.5 has been on song. You've got a great crew around you. Who else sort of helps put everything together at an event like this?
So obviously Tony, my crew chief, my dad, all of my family kind of comes to these events now. But yeah, it's behind the scenes as Corporate Industries, MCA Suspension, and a couple others out there. But yeah, without them guys, we couldn't do what we are doing.
I got to say, definitely looking very, very snazzy in the P1 there.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Lux Performance for sorting us out with the P1 suit. And yeah, absolutely fantastic bit of gear.
Pat Barley running not only one of the cleanest cars, but one of the tightest crews. Great to see a great bunch of people right behind this young gun. Back to you guys.
I'd just like to echo Patrick Barley's sentiment as well, that it's just such a proof of the talent being nurtured in the Darwin and NT drift community that, you know, there's no shortage of talent up there. And I saw, you know, a good mate of mine, Jake O'Mara, on the live stream here, you know, getting a great result up there, and a lot of these drivers driving together. But I've been hearing it for years now that, you know, go up to a drift event in Darwin and just see the level of talent that's up there. So for drivers like Mitch Doyle and Patrick Barley to come down here to join in on the Hi-Tec series and to show that, hey, we're serious about this. We can not only get into the top 4, but now we're in the battle for third and the battle for first, representing the Northern Territory. I've got massive respect for the talent coming out of each and every state in Australia, and I'm just glad to see drifting as a whole really grow here.
It's good to see, you know, exactly what you said. They've got their own little series up there. I shouldn't say little, they get a full field in both of their classes, which is good as well, you know, and they have a wide variety of tracks that they set up in the car park and then as well as on the track as well. And just hearing, again, against what Mitchell Doyle just said, that's the first time he's ever beat Patrick Barley up there. So I know they've been battling for years, and that's just so cool to hear. You know, not only is it in a different series, but he's now down here and they're still competing in a separate class and separate series, which is good to see. And they're travelling thousands and thousands of kilometres.
Yeah, I'm so glad to see them coming down here and putting these battles together. So, you know, hats off to both Patrick Barley and Mitch Dorr for making the travel down here and for what has already been a fantastic event with results still to come. We can see Brendan O'Grady there just loading up the pits. A beautiful looking car.
No, he's just setting up
setting up for victory skids, yeah.
Fresh tyres for victory skids. So, Mitch,
that's what we love to see.
So if you can hear that, we want Bogger, you need to have a fresh set of victory skids.
Yep, get amongst it, that green JZX100, sure to torch it dog, as I like to put it. Blow the rear tyres straight off that thing. We do still have our battle for third and our battle for first to come first.
And as we can just see there on the live feed, you got Josh up here watching the pro battles, and it's good to see him still out here supporting, and it's good to see. Well done to Josh for his efforts today, driving another car.
We're going to head quickly to J-Mac in the pits to see where we're going.
Well, it's only fair to give Ant Billick a right of reply after he had a chat with Patrick Barley. You're going to be coming up against him in the battle for third and fourth. You've already mentioned earlier the young gun's speed is definitely a factor to take into account. Where do you think you have the edge?
Well, with my leads, I'm just dial it back a bit, so maybe a 9.5, 10, you know. But I've been pushing way too hard, so that's where I learned my lesson against Bo. Kind of stuffed up a bit. Chase was unreal. Awesome chase, best chase I've ever done against him as well. I had to throw it down, so I did. But I've seen, Barley's a few runs with Barley, and he's very quick. So I'll just stick it like from the start, from the get-go, you know. Stick it to him, send it.
Send it. I love those words, especially when...
First time with Barley, so see how we go.
Well, nothing like a trial by fire. Ant Billick going into the battle for third and fourth against the Northern Territorian Patrick Barley, coming up real soon.
Billick and Barley, it just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? I can't wait to see this battle come together. James Dean Martle making the comment in my ear that he reckons these are the two quickest cars in the field in terms of their entry speed. And, I'm keen to see these two cars come together.
Battle of the BB guns, you reckon, maybe?
Yeah, of course, Bonnie's car, has that mechanical grip, but we've just seen both Patrick Barley and Anthony Billick go so hard on that entry there, even though the judges said, hey, we don't necessarily need you to go that hard there because we're focusing more on the rest of the run, but it doesn't mean that the fans and, you and I, Jake, don't love to see an aggressive entry.
Oh, 100%. We're all about those big entries and the aggressive driving, especially like Aaron Jouar showing how aggressive and big entry that you can do and pulling it back there. So we're in the top end of the competition today now, and these battles, they've got to put it all on the line. They've got to make sure that they're doing these entries and carrying the proximity and doing the perfect emulations through every single series.
So we'll turn these cars around shortly, just chucking some tyres on, seeing what's going on. I don't know what's quite happened there. Looked like a back window out.
I think he smashed that in the round just before Calder, and he still hasn't got it fixed.
Oh, well, it's handy to carry wheels and tyres, though. That's a good move.
Yeah, when the last round there at Calder, when he come through the transition off the hill down, when he gave it that beautiful love tap there, and it actually bent the quarter straight up into and cracked the glass, and then in true Damien Cook style, he's just like, you know what, still send it. We're only 2 weeks away from the next round. I think it's made it easy for him to clean the back seat, to be honest.
For sure, and now we're about to see the ambulance do the entry down against the barrier here. A little bit lazy there, losing a little bit of speed, but on the apex and the inside clip now. He's going to clear the track. One day, hopefully, one of these track officials will torch it for me, but until then, I'll keep screaming at him.
It's good to see. And we wouldn't be here without all the support staff and everything that you guys don't see on the live stream. We do have EMTs on hand, and we got all our track staff. We got Michael, our pit crew, who make sure that all of our guys get up to the line. So big hats off to all the crew behind us, especially all the AVE boys who have got all the cameras and that happening all day. They're here in the sun, making sure that they're capturing all it. So big shout out to all the sports and everyone else. Angus and his crew there. Looks like they're already in party mode.
Oh, mate, I'm sure party mode had started about midday, and I can't wait to see party mode roll into the night. Kate looks keen for a party down there next to the Game On Motorsport Supra, and I'm sure she will be later on.
Kate's probably up there uploading some videos and giving us some sick edits, I see her all the time, making sure that Angus has got some killer views.
Oh, I've been capturing content, and part of it was in John Ovaduris' car before, where Angus Kidd had the welding mask on. He got in there and stick welded the shifter back together, which was a classic.
Oh, that's good. We're just having a few cars here pull up. Oh, that was one of our head tyre changes, Moe, down there, coming up here to say hello to the judges, which is good to see.
Quite a nice R33 Skyline there behind the judges' booth for anyone on the grandstand. I love me a 33. Seems to be the ugly duckling of the Skyline family, but I've got a soft spot for him.
I had one, I loved it. And it's good to see, you know, Jono's 32 there. Hopefully we're going to see him doing some big victory skids. But yeah, we're just getting ready now for our final top battles of the top 4 for second and third, and first and second. We're going to find out exactly who is going to get ready for the first battles. And then, so just had confirmation. We're just waiting for Billy to roll up to the line, and then we'll be straight into the battles. So the battle that we'll see is Patrick Barley versus Anthony Billick for third place. And again, for first place, it will be between Mitchell Doyle and Bo Yates.
So not long to go now, guys. We do have Patrick Barley ready to battle. We just need Anthony Billick to get out there, and we will be good to go. Thank you to everyone who's joined us on the Motorsports TV live stream. We wouldn't be able to get this out there without the support of AVE and the Motorsports TV crew, travelling around the country to bring you live Australian motorsport, not only from drifting, but in a whole bunch of categories. I've seen them doing, you know, jet boats and sprint cars and drag racing and, you know, motorbikes, basically anything with an internal combustion engine and, you know, doing some stupid things. They'll be there and capturing it for you guys. So be sure to give Motorsports TV a like and check the app out. And they are the technical team behind Hi-Tec Drift Australia, who help us get out there to you both nationally and internationally. So thank you to everyone for supporting the live stream. Now, there is our battle for third. They're on their way out of the pits. We will see some quick tyre warming and straight into the battle for third with Anthony Billick heading out there now, and Patrick Barley just behind him in that beautiful white S15 with the sprint car motor in it.
And repping the Down DC boys. We'll see Down DC boys in a few of our rounds, so big shout out to them. They show some really good support here to the Hi-Tec Drift Series, so looks like he's joined that little community of the Down DC boys, which is well done to him.
Great dudes, love getting events and everything going on, and yeah, it's cool to see, you know, Jeff Hayes threw his hat into the ring a couple of times
and took the win.
Drove awesome. Yeah, great win there.
Yep.
And just a stoked dude. Like getting around at Calder, just doing bunny hops around the pits, having a laugh.
Pushy. Yeah, it's good to see. Nah, killer effort by them. But yeah, it's good to see, you know, the drift community really coming together and really just make sure that they're all what it does come down to, a family and community. It is a family sport, and it's good to see. You know, we've got young ones up here on the grandstand and young ones down there. I think there's a few of the drivers here, their fathers, which is good to see. And yeah, but hats off to them.
Love to see a bit of a figure eight going on from Billick. He's just getting that precision in, making sure those rear tyres are warm on the AAA Tyre Factory S13 Sylvia.
So yeah, let's get what you fans want to see. Who do you reckon's going to take third place? Let's get your comments happening. So comment for Billy to take the win and comment for Patrick. Let's get the shares happening. You know, we're into the final battles here. So let's see who you want. Do we want it? Do we want Patrick Barley to be the upset and take third place two rounds in a row, or Billy to finally find his form?
Hey, if this is anything to judge the victory skids by, I'm pretty keen to see Patrick Barley get the opportunity to do it. That was a proper tip-in.
Oh, mate, his dad will be absolutely grinning his teeth in there, because I know after speaking to them, and the first thing that he said, please no limiter bashing in your warm-up.
Oh, it seems to be one of the things drifters are the worst for. It's mechanical sympathy, and specifically the old limiter bash. And yeah, that's where Mickey Moo got his nickname from, the Moo AK-47. Sounds like someone popping off shots in the pits every time he's on it. So
it's all about push rods, mate. It's all about push rods.
Yeah? They don't particularly like the limiter, you know.
No, they hate it.
No.
But no, so it's good to see. So both guys on the line now, ready to go. We're just going to get the fingers pointed in the OK that both drivers are ready to go. Judges will give the all clear to send them, and away we will go. It's good to see that we've still got the fans out here on the grandstand and plenty in the cars parked up on the hill. Just remember that you've got the pits down there, so once you've finished up here, go down and say hello to your drivers that you like. Make sure they get a signing of your hats, your face, your shirt, your car even.
I'm going to get one to sign my butt later on. We'll see if anyone will be keen on it. But remember as well that we do have our presentations afterwards as well for some awards throughout the series. So feel free to stick around and check it out.
Yep, there is a presentation dinner tonight as well. I'm pretty sure if you go up and see one of the Hi-Tec staff, there might be a few seats available. But That'll be plenty of time there for drinking between me and you.
Tell you what, a hot meal and some cold beers. I'm looking forward to it. But first, we got some hot battles on track now. We've got our battle for third lined up, just waiting on release.
SR versus the sprint car engine. I think the SR is going to have some mighty dramas here, especially hearing from Billick what he was saying there before was this is the first time that they've ever battled together. It looks like Billick touched the cone there on the way out, but we have Billick in the lead. Patrick Barley chases a massive entry there by Billick again. Barley back up on the inside there. Quick transition by Barley. Back up onto the door there of Anthony Billick, bettering the line. Big snap back there from Anthony Billick, but Barley has not given him an inch. Straight up over the finish line, and again, the proximity given to him by that whole chase run by Barley, he did not give Billick an absolute inch.
Killer lead run there from Billick, but you know, as we've seen throughout previous battles today for Patrick Barley, he's just so familiar with bettering the line of the car in front of him while still maintaining proximity and emulating perfectly on the switchback. So, you know, it's splitting hairs, but I think a slight advantage there to Patrick Barley, where you know, Anthony Billick still did a fantastic lead run, and I wouldn't say that this advantage is anything that will overshadow the next battle.
Exactly, you know, these guys, and exactly what you said, Barley, he's just really dialed in his car, and he's listened to the judges. I know he'd come up before and have a chat to him and say, look, where can I better? And again, look, he's just really bettering him in every transition and every emulation, which is good to see. But look, you can't take that away. You wouldn't be able to do it without a nice lead run by Billick. Billick set the line, set the pace, and it was a quick pace there by Billick. As what we've seen from Martel, these cars are quick, and it's good to see Billick. There was no slagging of him. He was right up the throttle all the way through the track, and it was good to see big smoke coming out of him. But again, just a lot more grip seems to be shown from Patrick Barley. They've really got that car dialed for this track this weekend.
Such a cool S15 there, just it seems to have so much grip, so much power. And Billick's car, though, you know, is a car that's just gone constant development year after year, and he's always fiddling with that thing and quite quick. So it'll be good to see Billick with Patrick Barley in front of him. Let's see if he matches his speed.
Big entry there by Patrick Barley in the lead, sending it right to that clipping zone. He takes that nice line right through, staying nice and wide. Absolutely throwing some angle through that transition, torching it up the hill and leaving Billick for dead over that finish line. I think that's a clear advantage to Patrick Barley, and Billick did say that he think that car was fast, and it's just showed.
So as they come through this flat section here, Billick just going that little bit wide, transitioning early, trying to cut this corner here to catch up on Barley, which he has. But then through this last corner here, just a bit of an over-rotation for Billick because he stayed on the power and the smoke, and Patrick Barley has rocketed off into the distance.
PB for a PB.
Yeah, very nice run there for Patrick Barley.
He's been driving in form all day, and it's just gone to show, but no slouch coming up against Billick. You know, Billick's one of the guys who's really good at putting yourself in a good pressure cooker, and he's put on plenty of pressure there in that chase run. But again, just a sheer grip shown by Patrick Barley coming up through that second transition is good to see. All right, so get on the live feed. Tell us who you think, Billick or Barley. Comment or likes for Billick, hearts for Barley.
And for Harry Holt, a torch emoji with a dog emoji, which stands for Tortured Dog. I like that one.
I love it.
Yeah, Anya Harry Holt joining us all the way from Wagga with actually a Corolla that had been a similar vein to Glen Ormerod's. Quite a quick driver there with a built, I believe it's a 20 valve 4AG in it, and his brother in an Alltec SR one. So big shout out to the Holt brothers if you're watching at home.
That's a good name too. I remember the old giving the old Harry Holt there, you know, a bit of a hurry up. So
don't worry, Harry Holt gives him a good Harry Holt. Don't you worry about that. He's a very fast driver. All right, so here's our battle for first now going to line up. We have Mitchell Doyle up against Bo Yates. This is going to be one hell of a battle.
And this is an interesting fact. This car here yesterday, the exhaust only got built yesterday afternoon at 4 o'clock right before practice by the Custom Craft boys. And I'm quite sure that that's a fresh engine in that car. I mean, you did speak to him at the end of Cooler, and he said the car's done 3 years in that engine, and it's never been out. And it's a fresh rebuild for this round, and it's ready for next year as well.
Yeah, good way to run it in and just get out there and torch it.
Send it, absolutely. Big tip-ins ready for Doyle for the final for the pro battle. Hands together, folks. This is your final battle of the day between Mitchell Doyle and Bo Yates. This is the battle for first and second place. We want to hear. We want to get rowdy. We want to get loud. We want to get noisy. We've got a V8 supercharged engine versus a 2J Toyota genuine parts. Both of them up over the in excess of 500 kilowatts in both cars. These guys are going to absolutely be sending it hard, and we know what a send-off for Bo Yates, taking the series win this year. But again, he would love another first place trophy for the final round.
Yeah, sure to be one hell of a battle. And funnily enough, I've just heard from Dan Mackey, head judge, that in the driver's briefing, Mitch Doyle came up to him, put him aside and goes, oh, you know, the thing that I've got to do today is I just got to look out for Bo and I've got to try avoid him. So, you know, I'm going to just try stay away from Bo and I should be all right. But there's a point in the competition where there's only 2 drivers left, and that happened to be Mitch Doyle and Bo Yates. We've got them on the start line now. We're about to see the release. There we are, both drivers ready, and off they go with Mitch Doyle in the lead due to a high qualifying, as we saw Bo a little bit off form, qualifying in 9th. Anyway, here comes the entry. Bo Yates right on the rear quarter of that supercharged V8 S13 of Mitchell Doyle. The car's nicely separated there. Mitchell Doyle just missing that outside zone a little bit. Bo Yates right there with him and behind, getting a little bit lost in the smoke there across the finish line. But I think there's a few issues with Mitch Doyle's lead run there might hurt him.
Exactly. So we're just going through the good ride replay here. Mitchell Doyle, nice transition into the first turn. A little bit shallow through there, pushing it not as deep as what the judges are looking for. But Bo Yates following that lead line. So has he done it to himself? Coming through that emulation through there, right through to the centre of the track, getting lost in the smoke, nowhere near the inner clipping zone, which he should have been.
Yeah, it's a hard one. You know, like seeing when we're at the pointy end of the battles, there's so much pressure behind these drivers.
Exactly.
They're coming in, they're getting in their own heads. You know, Doyle, as we were saying just before the battle, you know, was eager to kind of avoid Yates because he knows how strong of a competitor he is. But as they come together in this final section in the battle for first, both of them are going to get a trophy. It's just how big it's going to be.
100%, you know, and look, you're coming down to the smoke that these boys are putting in, the power down, 500 kilowatts plus on both cars. Absolutely killer effort to even just think about driving through the smoke to dive up onto someone's door. The in-car footage of that would have been sick from Bo Yates' car because he was just right in the midst of it.
Yeah, he was definitely driving from memory there, and he is a driver who's not afraid to do that. You know, as much as that car is very well presented, the Toyota Genuine Parts 86, we've seen in the past that he's happy to risk it. You know, he will put it on the door of someone, and if they stuff up and it means contact, so be it. He is here to be a competitor and to win, and careful. You can be careful and aggressive at the same time.
I want to see contact. Let's go. Bo Yates in the lead. Mitchell Doyle in the chase for your final run of the day. Big entry there by Bo Yates. A little bit shallow out through the clipping zone. Right there, deep into the outer clipping zone again. Mitchell Doyle dialing, winding him right in there. Bettering the line again. Getting lost in the smoke, but again, right through that clipping zone. Both drivers in both chase runs getting left for dead up the hill. Unfortunately, this smoke looks like the key factor.
I've got a feeling that Bo, after having to battle it out in Mitch Doyle's smoke, he's gone, right, I'm going to click a gear and show you what it's like to have a smoke cloud in front of you. And Mitch Doyle showing true experience as a competitor there, able to also drive from memory on a track that I'm sure he doesn't have a whole lot of experience on. I can see you look pretty keen for one type of result, Jake.
I just want one more time because I'm calling it that both guys in their chase run both had a little bit queries and a little bit left behind, and there was sheer points on just their lead runs that stood out the most. So I'm going to call it for one more time. But hey, I'm just a pelican with a head mic on.
Yeah, I mean, if we could watch them just battle again and again and again till dark, I'd be all for that. But we are in a competition and we do need to get a result. There's reputations and points on the line here, and as the judges deliberate, I'm sure we're going to line the cars up for some victory skids and a bit of an announcement.
Oh, look, Ryan Kennedy, he's hit the nail on the head. You just got to risk it for the biscuit, mate. I agree with you guys. Just drive through the smoke and absolutely send it.
That's exactly it. And to answer, Dave Loco Wilkinson, yes, I believe we will be keeping the live stream up for some victory skids. I saw each car that has been in a final down in the pits there, all lined up, ready to go out. And I've just heard a very excited voice from our broadcast van saying, yes, we most certainly will be staying up for the victory skids. So we're going to see some tip-ins.
But we could see one more time. We could see one more time.
Is going to be beating fast, but we could see some one more times between these two.
Please.
Oh,
please.
That's James Martle saying he may have come to a result, and it could be a negative on that one more time.
Oh,
you can see there's still deliberation going on.
Judges
and
have a result.
confirmation that the judges have a result.
Well, we just heard from Michael Corner. He's calling. He wanted one more time, but it's good to see Michael Corner on the live stream there. He's a big fan. He was in the series, but unfortunately blew up his car in round 3 up there in Queensland, and he's building a big turbo engine for that car ready for next year. So it'll be good to see Michael Corner come back with his big 33. And with a big turbs under the bonnet there from the performance boys up there in Penrith, and I know him. He's been training hard and he's ready to go for next year. So it'll be good to be in his corner again. I know I gave him a few pointers, but Michael Corner, top effort and ready for next year, which is good.
Yeah, and it is sure to be another killer season of Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars. We've had, national and international drivers making huge treks to get down here. We've had cars borrowed, we've had upsets the whole way throughout, and
international drivers.
Yeah, if this is a sign of what's to come in 2020, I for one am excited to be a part of it. And for anyone out there watching the live stream and going, oh yeah, I wouldn't mind backing myself, or I could probably do better than that, or give me a crack at these guys, see what's going on. Well, give yourself a bit of a challenge. Don't just sit on the lounge and watch it. Start spinning spanners now. You've got a couple of months. We'll be in early 2020. We'll be bringing the battles back together, and we'll be having round 1 right here at Sydney Motorsport Park. So especially for you locals in Sydney, you've got no excuse. Get the car together, get your entry in, and get the opportunity to battle out some of the top drivers in the country, like Bo Yates and Mitch Doyle that we just saw go head-to-head.
100%, there's plenty of S13s, SR20s, and there's a few R33s up there in the market. Go get yourself a cage, get out here, get in the Pro-Am, get in the Drift for Real on the Friday, even get yourself a free entry into the Pro-Am if you can drive well, which is good to see. That's what the Drift for Real's all made for, and we've seen plenty of guys. Jeff Hayes up at Calder there, he was a Drift for Real and got the free entry there as a wild card driver and took the win. So the skills are out there, boys and girls. We've had plenty of girls drifters as well. None filling the season this year, unfortunately. Millie in that running some car troubles and that, but hopefully she'll get a car back out there and get ready for another year of battling.
Yeah, can't wait to see the field come back together again.
Can a Barra do a victory skid?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Are you sure?
To see that. Put the challenge out to him, see what happens.
Burgers, mate, Adam Burgers, we want to see you add some lettuce and we want to see you fry some tyres, mate. Can you hear us?
Yeah. And just to answer your question, Blake Patterson, the judges decided to remove a bit of the focus from the first entry to allow these cars to position themselves in such a way that they could really nail the outside zone on turn 2. So they really did want to see these drivers coming in. Yes, by saying that there's not a focus on the entry, they don't mean just come in straight and bum drag the whole way down. And that's not what we saw from a lot of drivers. But the decision was made that coming in and taking a little bit of judging focus off there would allow both the lead and the chase driver to go, right, let's settle into this line. Let's then nail that inside clip and work out our transition into turn 2.
Exactly. And just on the live stream there, we hear you, which is good to see. And Dane Loco Wilson, he's done a few rounds with us this year, and it's good to see. He's just said, I'll be in there for 2020, which is good. So, which is great to see. Hopefully, we might see him step up into the pro class with that beautiful built S13. I'm pretty sure he had a built RB under it, which is up your alley.
Sure is. I do like myself any sort of a turbo small capacity bad boy.
Exactly. Rachel Gett just saying HMAS can fry. That's pretty good. But yeah, no, that's thanks for that too, Blake. It's good to see that you're asking the questions, and we'll be able to fix that up and you understand, which is good.
And speaking about drivers that we'd like to throw the gauntlet down to come and drive, while you're asking questions on the live stream, Blake, let me ask you a question. Are you going to be entering in 2020? We want to see it.
Exactly. Hey, actually, he had some good battles there at, was it Goulburn?
Wakefield, yeah. He's a killer driver. He's an absolute weapon.
Him and Billy throwing down some big entries, which was good to see. So, yeah.
We've just had word from the man himself, George Gambino, the head of Hi-Tec Oils. He's saying that just for everyone who wanted to see Dwayne having a battle all the way down here from Ireland, we will see Dwayne McKeever jumping in the Hi-Tec Oils 350Z to blow a pair off the rear. I cannot wait.
Actually, it's not. He's going to do 2 laps of the track.
Oh, 2 laps, even better. Yeah, let's let him go do some entries. Exactly what it came down here from.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so we're going to get some feedback from a professional Irish driver in Dwayne McKeever to go, hey, what do you think about this Hi-Tec Oils 350Z?
Oh, he's just gone in the R34 drifter of Dan Mackey. This is going to be great. This is going to be great.
Could you do
blow the rear bar off?
What about a victory skid to celebrate a job well done for a full season, Dan? If you just get out there and torch the rears off that R34 Skyline, I would love
it's
to
automatic.
see it.
It's automatic.
Oh, too busy typing on a laptop to do a burnout. Come on, I thought you were a drifter, mate. I believe in you. I'd love to see that car.
Oh, there we go.
Break.
Jake Topliff and the boys from Team Doorbangers will be hitting up round 1.
Woo, yeah.
So that's a good team. We'll have sparkly glasses, the two brothers, which will be good in their little Datsuns. Both of them NA, which is quite good to see.
Look
and
at
then
this.
Topliff has just built another S13, which is good to see.
I love this. Just cameras out and ready. Everybody loves a good skid. Get amongst it.
Come on, get your hands up. Get rowdy. Throw them in. We want tip-ins.
Yeah. If your car does not do at least 270 degrees and then roll backwards with the front wheels on the burnout, I'm going to call it soft. So
I want a first to third Woombar. Big first to third Woombar. Actually, just on the brake and starter in third. I want to see diffs.
Okay, so we do have results here that we will announce for you while we've got the victory skids. We're going to first start off with the Pro-Am. In fourth position, we have Brendan O'Grady, bogger in that green JZX 100. What a fantastic job he has done here.
Are we giving room for them to say something, or am I just running straight through?
In third position, Glenn Ormerod with that 13B K70 secured himself a trophy. In second place, we have Adam Burgess, who will be heading out shortly for a skid, but there is that JZX 100 of Bogger now doing a skid. And John Overdoris, the result he's been hunting for all
Jono,
season.
Absolutely killing it. Well done to Jono and the crew for taking first place.
That's our famous Insurance Pro-Am rounded out. You can see the cars there lining up for victory skids. Let's get into the pro results now, Jake.
All right, so we're going to call... So we've got Bogger up here doing victory skids for his fourth place position, which is good to see. He's absolutely killing those tyres, quite sure that he just put a fresh set on. Then we'll have next up for the victory skids a big tip in. Come on, Glenn. We want to see. Oh, and we've just been announced that Brendan O'Grady did take the championship win of your Pro-Am class. So that was victory skids for fourth place and first place in the championship of your Pro-Am. Well done to him and his team, especially now joining up with the Zoo Performance and the BSG team. Well done to Brendan Bogger O'Grady. Oh, the tip in from the Corolla.
Yes.
Absolutely killing it, Glenn. Well done to him, finishing in third place today. Stepping it up next year into the Pro class with a new build.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say I was watching a YouTube video from New Zealand. There's a rotary swapped Corolla here, doing a tip in for the Oibs. I'm very excited to see Glenn Ormerod poach a pair on the back of this little Corolla.
Actually, I'm pretty sure he's had the same set on all day. That thing's got grip for days.
Here we go, no hands, no worries, straight into it. What a machine.
Absolutely killer effort. So you guys get up there on the live stream, show us your tip-ins. It's good to see everyone out there still down there supporting these guys on the pit wall and everything like that. Well done to everyone. And what a killer. Mate, the little rotary can skid.
Yeah, mate. Not only can it door people, it can also poach a pair. So I'm stoked to be seeing that.
Killer effort. And look, that car is always well presented. Every time that comes out to the track, him and his crew absolutely look after that car. And, man, it can torch a set. Well done. Well, this is the one I've been looking for. Adam Burgers out here, HMAS Fry a lot. Killing it. Absolutely well done to him. Big effort for him finishing second place today. Deserves it well to blow off a set after a hard rounded call to blow the wheel starts. Let's make sure he gets through this skids.
If this isn't Straya, I don't know what is. BA Falcon blazing away.
Spill Coffee Drift Club on the rear window there. Absolutely killing a set.
Do love a good skid. This is where we're
Alrighty, and then we'll have our first place, John Overdoris, getting ready for his victory skids. Alrighty, that's it. Well done to HMAS Fryalot and Adam Burgess finishing second place today. And it's good to see there. Alrighty.
John Ovidoris.
He's been waiting for his first place victory skids all season, and here we go. Let's see a big tip in. Big tipping in from Jono. Can he hear us? We want limbs back. We want push rods through the bonnet. We want engine out the block.
He's ready to go. Hopefully that shifter that nearly snapped is back in action now.
Mate, come on, you've just been showed up by a Ford.
Looks like some shifter issues there, but it has been having those throughout the event.
First gear neutral bank, doing sweet.
Seems to be popping out of gear. He does have one of those sequential shifters on top of the T56 box. So
there we go.
Bit of a weird thing, but once it's on, boy, the zip coach.
Well done to Jono, finally getting his first win. Hats off to him.
Yeah, I'm sure that trophy's going to have a few beers through it tonight, and I'm excited to see him getting amongst it.
Let's get him to do a shoey.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
F1 podium stuff, that is.
Jono's always up for a shoey.
He does love it. In that beautifully prepared R32 that's lost its 5th bar at round 5, so... And here is our points for the series. So Brendan O'Grady with a dominating lead there, 384 points out in front. John Ovidoris getting second place and the first place trophy for this round, which is what has put him just in front of Matt Grice with 5 points, who does deserve to still take home a trophy for that. Jason Hayden's had some valiant efforts throughout the year. Adam Burgess getting to go home with a trophy today, and the pleasure of knowing that he is 5th place in the in the Famous Insurance Pro-Am Series. So that's congratulations. Daniel Mesmer there, Flash Smith and Philip Silky rounding out your top 8. But on track now, our 4th place pro winner, Anthony Billick, with a quick victory skid. We have been told that we need to cut these a little bit short just to keep the track happy. So Billick will do a little skid there and maybe get off. But, drifters are hard to reel in as well for all the instruction we give them. They're still going to stay up and plenty of limbs from that little SR20.
SR sing a lot.
Yeah, keep your ears out for rockers pinging all over the place.
All right, and in 3rd place we have Patrick Barley for his victory skids in 3rd place.
And we've just heard word that, unfortunately, guys, sorry to announce to you, but victory skids have been cancelled at the request of the track, so we'll have to shut that one down. It is a staple of drifting and one of our favourite parts in there, but anyway, we'll send them home. We do want to come back, and we love having access to Sydney Motorsport Park South Circuit as a fantastic venue. So yeah, we'll let those ones go. Oh, here we go. Bo just nosing it into the wall there. At least he's off the outside of the track surface. And he is the champion. There's him celebrating that 2019 Drift All-Stars Championship. He has taken it off the track surface, so he knows that he needs to take care of this facility. Nosed it into the wall there just for a quick skid, blow the pair off, put him on the trailer. So it's been a fantastic round this year. Here we have the points coming up on screen now to show just how far ahead Bo Yates has come. Obviously sacrificing a bar to celebrate the victory. What a dude.
Big effort to him and his team. He's put in hard yards all season, and back-to-back, again, wins for him, which is good to see.
So there you have it. Bo Yates. Is that a 201-point lead over the series? Man, can anybody touch Bo Yates when it comes to being a competitor in drifting in terms of, just knowing how to run that championship and really focusing on what he needs to do? Matt Van Kirk defending that 2nd point, even though he was knocked out in the earlier rounds there. He's still going home with that 2nd place championship trophy. And Scott Shembry just sneaking his way onto the podium in front of his Blaze Unit teammate, James Abbott. Aaron Juar in 5th position. Mo El Hooley there behind him in 6th. Mitch Doyle and Michael Bonney rounding out your top 8. We're going to head down to J-Mac in the pits to see what the vibe's like after what's been a killer 2019 series.
You can guarantee that things are going to continue well into the night here at Sydney Motorsport Park. From everybody involved here at the Hi-Tec Drift Australia Series, we say farewell to the 2019 series and we look forward to next year. Bring it on.